good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to the Bloody Disgusting Network. The passage of time will now bring you to something strange, unique, and idiosyncratic. Have a good time.
My friendship to all of you precludes my involvement with any one of you. But if you wanna make love, then I do too, and I'll be right there behind you. All in the name of oh, all in the name of oh, all in the name of oh.
Greetings, constant listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Losers Club, a Stephen King podcast presented by Bloody FM, the #1 podcast network, I should say, for horror in the world. And thank you to Charlie Lawrence and the Most for our always catchy theme song, the Friends song. You can find that on Bandcamp or Spotify or wherever you get your most songs. I'm your host with the most, at least I hope so, Michael Monroeville Mall Rothman, and today we are going to dial the clock back half a century. That's 50 years, if you're keeping count. And we're going to spend an afternoon in Castle Rock, Maine, where there is one Gwendy Peterson who is about to run up from those creaky, sure-to-fall-down suicide stairs. You know, I got to say, 7 years into this charade, I don't think we're strangers to these parts of the world, of the King's Dominion. I think Castle Rock is a town we all know too well. And to be quite honest, I think this is also a story we're quite familiar with. And I'm getting a little deja vu because by my math, this was published in May of 2017. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this podcast started in January of 2017, which means, folks, hashtag Pennywise, and I don't mean the clown. I'm talking about the great 90s album, Full Circle. We are all full circle now. We are now in sort of some congruency. This is the first book that we're actually discussing that was published when we were alive. So it's a little nuts, a little Back to the Future 2 almost kind of feels like, you know, or Avengers Endgame if you're a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe over there on Disney Plus. Anyway, which book is that? Well, if you couldn't guess from the title of the podcast in this feed, the hints to Castle Rock, and the fact that I literally named Gwendy Peterson earlier on, this is Stephen King and Richard Chizmar's 2017 collaborative novella, Gwendy's Button Box. It's a story we covered in capsule form on Needful Tweets way back in our first year. But today we are going to give the Slim Read a full-bodied book episode, and wouldn't you know it, I've got 3 savvy losers ready to join me and do just that. Coming in from Chicago, Justin, say hello and tell us the first time you opened Gwendy's Button Box.
Hey, this is Justin Juniper Hill Gerber, and Mike, if memory serves, as you alluded to several times in your introduction, I believe I read an advance copy of this, I want to say it was May of 2017, for a very special episode in which we covered this book within another episode of just King coverage or tweets or whatever we were doing at the time. Just like a mini review, a capsule review, if you will, at the end of an episode. And
Fast read.
7 years ago. 7 years ago.
Yeah, it hit me today when I was thinking of 7 and just how long 7 was when I was growing up. Like, Jurassic Park came out in 1993. 7 years later, it's like
Valentine
AI and Valentine. Yeah. But I mean, that felt like a whole lifetime. Now it's only been 7 years. I mean, granted, a lot has changed, but I don't know. It hit me when I was finally sitting down to write a script, and I was like, oh my God, this is the first book. How about that? Did you remember a lot of it?
I did. And I think the reason for that is, as we'll get into, is the brevity of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I reread it a couple days ago on my way to work on the train, half of my lunch break, and on the way home from work. I mean, it is such a quick read, and it's not too much. There's not enough to forget.
No.
You know what I mean? There's
Definitely
still
not.
materials right there.
Definitely not. Well, our second loser to introduce is also from the second city, currently sitting in the dark of his apartment, and not by his own choice. Flieger, tell us your relationship to the series and perhaps tease an interview you've done in the past.
Sure, this is Dan, mobile hotspot Flieger, dealing with some fun rolling blackouts. But yeah, me and Caffrey spoke to Chizmar for the Dark Tower Detour series. And he seemed like he's a really nice guy. Like, he was very generous with his time and storytelling. And you could just tell that he's a really big fan of Stephen King. And he was just like, he's like, I'm living the dream. He's like, I get to text my buddy Steve. And he's like, as much as I love his work, he's like, I like him more as a friend. So that's pretty cool.
That's cool. I wonder if do you think you'd like him more as a co-writer or as a friend?
I don't know. It would be
Why
hard
not
because yeah, I guess so. But he was talking about like visiting Steve in like his Sarasota house and like watching movies, advanced screenings with him, and he's like, this is just so cool.
Yeah, I imagine going to King's house in Sarasota, Florida. He like has just stacks of Netflix and CBS shows and movies that they've all sent him and
Pub subs.
Please tweet, and pub subs. I wonder what King would get. Would King get the de facto pub sub, the fried chicken one? I don't know. Or would you think
he's
get
probably just a normal Publix sub guy?
Yeah, like a veggie guy.
Yeah,
like
turkey on wheat.
I get. Wait, Jen, is Publix in Tennessee?
Yeah, we're
I
just
thought
getting.
so.
Yeah, we're getting one down the street pretty soon too, which is great. But yeah, I'm not a sandwich person though. I don't like bread very much.
Well, you are a book
food.
person, which is why you're on this episode, and you are a fourth loser to introduce here. This might be a new record.
Might be.
If anyone remembers playing Pod Racer for Nintendo 64, it's like a new lap record. Like that is what they say every time you hit the time things. That's what came to mind when Jen about 2 or 3 hours ago was like, yeah, I'll hop on this episode. So congratulations, Jen. You have the fastest record here to read a book again and and get on this episode. So when was the first time you read Gwendy, and was it in 2017? And were you aware of the Losers Club podcast?
Ooh, good question.
Hey, this is Jen to the Rage Adams. And yes, I was, and I think I've mentioned this, but it might have been on Patreon before, but I had a friend who sent me an article and said, hey, I think you would like this new podcast that's about to drop. And so I listened. I've been listening since the very first episode.
Wow.
I don't remember this one because I think it was probably, as you said, not a Gwendy episode. It was part of something else, but I probably listened to it. And I don't remember when I read Gwendy. I think it probably was when I was going through all of the books and I just got to it. So it probably was 18, 19, somewhere around there. Yeah. But I started reading it today. I started listening to it today at 3:00. And here we are.
Well, I'll say this. So I looked into our Dairy Private Library, which you're probably wondering, wait a second.
Excuse me.
What is that? The Dairy
where all the good stuff
Private
is.
Library. Yes, well, it's part of our Patreon, www.patreon.com/thebarons. Stumbled upon that one. And it's called Gwendy's Button Box of Bones because we were a bunch of idiots in 2017 and didn't think that of SEO or searching for things and thought maybe, hey, someone's going to search for Gwendy's Button Box of Bones because we valued and prioritized our creativity when it came to titling episodes versus actually giving you stuff so you could find it. So if you want to go on a labyrinthian journey and really feel like you're living the 4K 4D experience of Hellraiser 2, go into our Dairy Private Library, type in Gwendy, you'll find, and this is where your mind's just really going to get blown, you'll find our book episode for the third book, Gwendy's Final Task.
A full episode.
A full episode.
By the way. I was on that too, which is really confusing.
Just all over the place. The Dark Tower Detour with Richard Chizmar that Fleer teased, and then also our Needful Tweets, which we used to be in the main feed, is now locked away in Dairy Private Library. I'm glad we've settled all that. There we go. I read this also in 2017, and I will say that just like Justin, it was a walk to the office, read half of it, and a walk back, finished it, and I thought, that was a nice little pleasant story. I didn't remember a lot of this stuff. I think some stuff was starting to come back to me. # Celine Dion, but I didn't necessarily remember a lot of the dramatic beats, and I'm very excited to excavate them with you all on this episode. As I mentioned, we are here in Maine, Castle Rock to be precise, but I've got a file on Gwendy that was sent all the way from the Carolinas, and it's from my favorite library in the South, Tina Ackerley's library.
I have to say, I appreciate you sticking to the bit of using Tina Ackerley's library from Joyland.
All right, so there's a reason why I use this, and I'm sure today I would have just stumbled right into the Derry Public Library. But the thing is that the last book episode that wasn't a short story I did was Joyland, and I saw this bit in there, and I said, okay, Justin's on this episode. I have to do it because I know you. I figure you would have.
Well, I think it also is serendipitous. I mean, this book starts off in the 70s, and I think Joyland takes place in the 70s.
It's true. So somewhere in there,
similar vibes too.
I would agree.
Very similar.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well,
and similar length.
Hey, we're just all on similar pages, aren't we? Well, to quote the Wolf from Pulp Fiction, let's not all. No, I'm just not going to say that line.
Wow.
Anyway,
to quote Quentin Tarantino from Pulp Fiction. I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, let's definitely not do that one.
No.
Okay, so as I said at the top, this is a collaboration between Richard Chizmar. It's Chizmar, right? Not Chizmar. Chizmar. Yeah. All right, we're going to go with
Chizmar.
Chizmar.
Like a chisel.
Like a chisel. Throbbing chisel. That's not that's throbbing gristle.
You're chiseling marzipan.
Chiseling.
Think about that. Chizmar.
Like
Okay.
Marsden.
Okay.
Marsden.
All right, your mind's always on James Marsden, though.
That's true. Yeah.
CBS All Access. Rest in peace.
CBS All Access. Yeah. So Richard Chizmar, Stephen King. Now, look, 7 years. Name of the podcast. I think you all are familiar with Mr. King. First name Stephen, but a few of you might not know Rich. You might be a little lost. Most of you, I would wager to bet, still do know who Mr. Chizmar is, especially if you've pre-ordered anything from Cemetery Dance Publications. Now, if that rings a bell, it should, because if you are a collector like many of us on here, you've probably bought or pre-ordered multiple editions from Richard Chizmar and his Cemetery Dance Publications. Well, Flieger, since you spoke to the man himself, the Bard, you give us a little rundown on Cemetery Dance, because I think we should probably give a 411 before we go on.
Yes. So Cemetery Dance was founded in 1988, and it's kind of regarded as one of the leading publishers of horror in the world. It's won all kinds of awards, like the Shocker Award, British Fantasy Award nominee, the Bram Stoker Award. And they started as kind of like a horror magazine that would print shorts, but then they also do books. And one of the things they're famous for is the slipcase of Stephen King books. So that's like the ones that have the kind of fancy hard cardboard that goes over it. But Richard's also he's a writer himself. He writes with his son, and he's collaborated with a ton of people. But they've made special limited editions for not just King, but like Dean Koontz, Ray Bradbury, Peter Straub, Mick Garris. So they're kind of all over the horror world. And but this is the first time he actually collaborated with King. And I want to say one quote where Joe Hill actually commented on Cemetery Dance. And he says, and I quote, "Cemetery Dance is like a perfectly cooked steak, nice and red in the middle. Get a taste."
What a
kind of
feisty quote. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he was hungry when he was asked that, like, hey,
he was probably having a steak dinner.
Yeah. He's just like sitting there and just like, hey, this is on the mind. Well, I feel like we've talked about Cemetery Dance multiple times over the 7 years because like you said, the slipcases are there, the editions are there. I know that there's an entire thread about the Cemetery Dance editions on our Discord, www.patreon.com/The Barons. Join us, and you'll be on that Discord where you could find fellow constant listeners just like you. Jesus, what a shill. Hey. But, we got to do it. But anyway, I know that everyone collects these. I've never bought anything from Cemetery Dance. Has anyone here?
I've looked into it several times. I mean, they go pretty fast. And if they don't go that fast, I mean, God bless them. They put so much work into these editions. Let me preface it by saying that. But they're not like $30.
No.
You know what I mean? They're definitely pricey. So
yeah. I've just gotten press stuff from them mostly. But I know Dan Caffrey, fellow loser, he's gotten some stuff from that Chizmar wrote himself.
Yeah, well, Caffrey reads at the rate of even faster than Jen, surprisingly enough. Like a short circuit over here, Johnny 5. Jen, I know you have a collection of first editions and books, but do you have anything from Cemetery Dance?
I don't. I've been tempted before, but yeah, it's usually the price tag that kind of Corey's gonna find it, and I'm gonna get in trouble. But there's always got really cool stuff, and I'm always very tempted.
They do. They have a. I know that version
Love
was
the
one.
It one.
Like was you've seen that one before, right?
seen
so
that, yeah.
okay, yeah, that one's supposed to be like the big prize out there. There's some of them I've seen in bookstores, especially when they used to have used bookstores in Chicago, because at least 3 or 4 folded before I left. There were a bunch on there, on like the shelves in the back or in cases, and they'd be like up to like $1,000, like $1,500 for some of them. We've gone. I think when we went to that book show in Chicago years ago, there was one that was right next to like a first edition of Carrie, and I remember it was like almost priced exactly like next to the first edition of Carrie. I was like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe how expensive these are. But either way, so you could tell that there's a strong marriage, there's a strong bond, and as we've learned from King over the years, he's got a friend in me, to quote the other bard, Randy Newman. So how did Gwendy come to fruition? Well, I pulled a quote from Mr. Chizmar in a conversation with our old pal, Anthony Bresnikan, from 2017. And here's the irony. We have probably read these words at some point in a Needful Tweets episode. So when we start doing the history of these books, the craziest thing is that we are going to be there's going to be echoes in the Thinny and the Beam. And I've just been really in my head about this. I don't know why. I've just been really, it's kind of, I don't know. It's just weird to know that we've gone full circle on this. But anyway, Justin, why don't you read the following quote from Entertainment Weekly?
Yeah, so Chizmar says, quote, Steven and I were emailing in early January, and he mentioned offhandedly a story he'd started sometime over the summer, and he just couldn't finish it. As I often do, if he mentions a new story, I always say, well, hey, send it to me if you want. I'd love to read it. I didn't expect anything to come of it, but the next evening a file titled Gwendy showed up, and the body of the email read, do whatever you want with it. Jesus.
I know.
So yeah, after King's email arrived, Chizmar immediately read King's unfinished manuscript of about 7,000 words. And then, quote, before I could chicken out, I wrote him back and said, I'd love a crack at finishing this. And we rolled with it, to quote. And end quote, maybe they're quoting Paul McCartney there. I don't know.
Let me roll. Is that off of Wings or no? It's
Wings.
Beatles. Oh, it is Wings.
No,
okay.
it's Wings.
Okay.
Let me roll
okay.
with it. There you go.
Are you more of a solo McCartney fan or a Wings fan?
Oh, that's
What
so
kind of a
complicated.
question is that?
I it's got to be solo McCartney
Same.
for me.
I agree. I agree. I'm not a big
Y'all are
Wings fan.
insane.
I love, some Wing stuff, but I need Ram and stuff like that. Anyway.
Oh, I thought we were comparing Wings and Beatles, Paul McCartney. Okay.
What?
Oh no.
no.
That's
No,
different.
no.
That's
Come
different.
on, Jen.
What? Sorry.
That's a totally different ball game. So my seg here doesn't work anymore because we started talking about the Beatles and Paul.
sorry.
But I'm just gonna say.
Mike, let me just say
yeah,
what
just
you
keep
were
going.
gonna
Just
say.
keep going. Yeah.
Wow. Chizmar said that the Castle Rock setting was daunting at first. So I'll continue on with the Entertainment
Okay.
Weekly. Quote, I felt a huge obligation to try to do the place and the story justice. It's sacred ground for Stephen King readers. End quote. Chizmar felt a bit like he was trespassing, even though he'd known King for years and covered his work extensively through his own Stephen King Revisited project, rereading and reviewing his entire bibliography. Quote, I spent a weekend in a state of mild terror because I knew what I had done. Then I sat down Monday, and when I started writing some notes, it was sheer terror. My hands were shaking. Then I tossed my notebook aside and opened my laptop and just started writing. Before you knew it, I was in Castle Rock, and the nerves were gone.
So can you see how he would be nervous, or do you think he was overthinking this a little bit?
I would not, honestly, I would not be that nervous.
Yeah.
I'm not a writer necessarily, like especially in this regard, but it'd just be like a fun exercise.
Yeah.
If he doesn't like it, he's not going to go on Twitter and say, "Man, this guy, I sent this material to Justin Gerber and he sucked."
He tagged Cemetery
I will
Dance.
never, I will never send him anything again.
Yeah.
But I will say Chizmar, he kind of elaborated on some of it because he is like a mega fan.
Yeah.
He had actually written a screenplay from a Buick 8.
Oh man.
So he'd been like a long time like devoted, constant reader. And he is really like a very like bubbly, like upbeat guy. So I could just see him being like, I'm not worthy, kind of like Wayne's World.
Well, on that note, Flieger, the flip side obviously is he is a professional writer. So I think as a professional writer to get a ding, like a negative ding from King, ooh, it rhymed. That would hurt more, I think.
Yeah.
Just me writing something to King.
What about you,
I'm
Jen?
Terrified.
Terrified?
Yeah. Ooh. Yes. I mean, I get nervous about just writing normal stuff. every day. And yesterday I was texting Mike about this. Like, I kind of agreed to maybe be Elphaba on local TV to make cupcakes for Wicked, and then immediately panicked and was like, what did I do? Why did I sign up for this? So I completely feel his pain. Also, they found somebody else, so crisis averted. But yeah, I on a much larger stake, I could imagine, like, even just emailing with Stephen King, I think I would lose my mind. I would be like, how do I sign? Do I say best? Do I say have a wonderful day? Like, I just would be so in my head that everything that would come out of my fingers on the typewriter would be idiotic.
Well,
and then I think I would get over it, and then I'd probably be okay. But
I mean, we were like that when the first tweet came in 2021, and you were the first person to say you had that GIF of, like, from Stand By Me when they're, like, freaking out and stuff. It's like, I mean, the thing that I would take solace on with specifically Castle Rock, maybe not so much Derry, because I do think he has a better understanding of Derry just because it's supposed to be Bangor, but I always got the sense that Castle Rock is, like, all over the place. Like, I don't really know which way is which. Like, you read some of the short stories, you read some of the original stories, like the Castle Rock and the Dead Zone and Needful Things seems totally different to me, even though I know they're the same stories, but, like, or the same cities. But, like, even talking to Sharon Kitchens when we spoke to her about, the Stephen King's Maine, she was talking about how that the Castle Rock area is actually kind of hard to get a grip on. And I think Bev Vincent said the same thing when he was trying to come up with a map for it. So I think that I would lean on that and being like, well, I could kind of probably just do whatever and have fun with it as long as I hit the right beats. And I'll say this about this book, like, I don't really see Castle Rock as a character in this. Like, it's not
the way it is in some other books. Yeah. Definitely not like Needful Things.
The only frame of reference is the suicide stairs, really.
Yeah.
That's the only kind of grounded part. So I just tried to picture those as kind of being the center of, her activities. But yeah, it didn't really add a whole lot else.
Because they don't.
I think
go for it.
Because of the way that the book is structured, I mean, it works such a clip. I mean, chapters are a few pages long, and then we're just on to the next event or the next piece. We're only with her.
Yeah.
The entire time. So there's not a lot of room for, like, the picturesque description of downtown Castle Rock or something like that. It really is just, you just happen to be at certain places, like you said, figure like the suicide stairs at a certain point.
Like, you don't get
a diner at a certain point. You're not going to be meeting the townsfolk and stuff like that in this book.
Yeah.
It's just strange because we'll get into that with King's Dominion, but I do remember when, I feel like, so this is May 2017. So I think we were, like, probably right at the time when we were going to get into, like, maybe the Dead Zone, because I think Dead Zone was June for us at that time. So we were starting to finally get into Castle Rock, which actually, weirdly enough, this might be the first Castle Rock story we technically read in our coverage of King.
And the Potsdam Continuum.
Because I'm pretty sure Dead Zone was June for us around that time, and that's the first Castle Rock story, I believe. Anyway, but did we want more Castle Rock? Was this kind of?
I mean,
I'm
I'll
always
take
wanting more
Castle Rock
Castle
every
Rock,
time.
honestly. Yeah.
And I feel like I agree. It doesn't add, but it doesn't detract. Like, if I think about some other short stories, like Mrs. Todd Shortcut does a Castle Rock story, but it doesn't. That's not a piece of the story. It's just where they are from. And I mean, to a certain extent, Cujo is not a huge Castle Rock story.
Outskirts.
Exactly. There are, like, Bannerman is there, so it connects in that way. But here it's just like, it's nice. It feels like a nice little nod in a short and sweet story.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I hope I'm not forgetting something major. Needful Things was obviously advertised as the last Castle Rock story. Yeah. Is this the first Castle Rock story since Needful Things?
No, because he had short stories that were in Nightmares and Dreamscapes that take place there. The one with the Scarecrow, I think, is in Castle Rock.
Okay.
It Grows on You, I think.
It Grows on You,
I
think it is.
Although I think that was written a while before and maybe dusted off for that.
Right.
And technically, Lisi's story is like outside of, it's on Castle Lake. So it's like...
Yeah.
It's
and,
around.
I mean, and there's an allusion to the lake from Bag of Bones. We're really getting right into the 237 here, or
I mean,
we
are.
No,
Let's hold all this because we still got to talk about the production of it all. But hey, look, we get to Castle Rock, we go to Castle Rock. So, within 3 days, nerves aside, Chizmar had 10,000 words on the page. I'm trying to think if I've written 10,000 words that fast. Probably for some bullshit thing that I was written. Probably for, like, Halloween fan fiction in my, like, the 90s. John Tate fought Michael. Anyway, so basically what happened? Michael Myers. So, like the Postal Service, the band, not the government agency, the two kept exchanging pages. They never informed where they should go. Chizmar admits that they just left that up to each other. So, in a way, and I'm going to use it again, this will probably be the 40th time I've used it on this on any podcast. It was a lot like the Remain in Light Once in a Lifetime by Talking Heads, in which multiple members came in, recorded their thing, and then something happened. Ceremoniously, we get one of the greatest songs of all time. Obviously, this is only two people.
That would be called like an exquisite corpse, right?
Yeah.
That level of production.
Yeah.
I think that's a great like terminology. It doesn't always work, but I think in this case it does.
I mean, because there's only two people here, so it's not like two. Once you get too many cooks in the kitchen, it's let's say we're not going to be eating a good meal sometimes. But in this case, it's just two, and I mean, we can ask this later. But 1 month later, Gwendy's Button Box was born. Final revisions were sent by February 6th, and the book rolled out by May 16th, 2017. Now, here is something that's a big mindfuck, and I'm going to keep doing this because we have our history. So around the time, which was roughly late December, early January, when we're like, hey, let's do a Stephen King podcast, Chizmar was getting emails from King talking about wanting to write this story. And by the time that we got finished with Salem's Lot is the time that this was finished. So something to keep in mind. It's cool. It's cool to consider, because I still remember those days. I remember it was a warm winter for us, and I was able to read a lot outside. So
it's weird to talk about these books as opposed to, oh yeah, I was in 6th grade on the school bus. Now it's like, oh, we were recording the 5th month of the podcast. That's really strange to be
we were in
able
the
to
thick
say.
of it. It's very odd, and then we're starting to get into that. And let's just say I'm glad that we're all able to experience this together for the first time. But anyway, obviously, fast, lean, mean book. Which, I mean, I don't know if anyone's seen Curb Your Enthusiasm, but there's the Seinfeld season, and Jason Alexander writes a book. It's like a self-help book or something like that, or a book on acting, and they, like, Jerry and Larry start kind of teasing him, being like, it's not really a book, it's more like a pamphlet. You could kind of make the joke that it's very big, the font is huge, there are photos, most of the chapters end with a blank page. There's a reason why Jen was able to read this, and no shade to you, Jen. I know
this This goes back to, again, circa 2017, when we were recording for the Losers Club podcast, and we had the great debate about, even though it says on the actual book sleeve, I recall, that Elevation was a novel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're like, what makes a novel? For me, this is a novella. 100%.
This is a novella.
There is no way to know. No one knows the difference between a novel and a novella.
Yeah,
that's 100% correct.
I think it could be shorter, because like Kurt Vonnegut's one of my favorite authors, and a lot of his books clock in under 200 pages.
Yes.
But I think the fact that this is like a trilogy gives it a little more meat on its bones, right? But I do think this is like a fun little jaunt, and like I've taken to calling short Stephen King books jaunts, just keep in the universe.
In honor of the short story?
Yeah.
The monkey?
Just for fun.
The monkey.
Yeah. Well, and I'll put it this way. My son is reading a Goosebumps book right now, because I told him he couldn't be a zombie without reading one. And we were having a debate about which one was longer, and it was actually a contest. So this is...
Wow. We got to get a word count in here for Gwendy's, and which one was he reading, Jim?
It was Say Cheese and Die.
Oh,
so.
Can I say I just saw R.L. Stein at the Music Box.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they played the new episode for Say Cheese and Die for the new Goosebumps reboot. Yeah. Ooh. And he had some funny Stephen King stuff, because somebody said, R.L. Stein is a training bra for Stephen King readers. Yep. And so he actually talked a few times about meeting King, which is just kind of interesting. Like, there's like a little bit, not tension, but you could tell that they were kind of like, they didn't maybe gel as much as he did with Chizmar.
Yeah.
King has said some negative
Stephen
things
King did
publicly.
say you're stealing all the good carnival stories.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what, Justin, is that what you've heard before? Like
King is definitely, he's on the record of saying some negative things about R.L. Stein before.
I mean, so did we all read Goosebumps here?
I read Fear Street.
Fear Street.
Okay, well,
yeah,
you're already just outside. And,
I was out there,
like, worrying about STDs.
Done, you know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
Just reading the New Yorker while he read.
Yeah.
Just,
sitting there being like, it looks like.
Looks like Lewinsky's in the news again today.
It's like that Ken Starr. God damn.
He's back.
You know,
He won't
what
let
is-
it go.
Reiner's with a new movie, A Few Good Men.
Who's this Newt Gingrich idiot?
Newt Gingrich.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Well,
a lot of that going on.
actually, hold that thought because I have something in Misery I want to bring up based on literally what we're joking around here right now. But I do every time I think of like the rivalry of like King and Stein, which I think we talked a lot about it on the Ghost episode for Michael Jackson, because I was arguing that he was kind of capitalizing on the kind of kids horror movement that was happening in the mid 90s. But I always just think of like, you know, they're in the same room and like King's kind of standing there, and at this point he's probably maybe even has a drink. He looks over and he's like, "Oh, who are you?" "Oh, Mr. R.L. Stein." He's like, "The playground's that way." You know, just like, you know, just total fucking asshole. But you know, who knows? But
Does RL stand for Robert Lewis?
Yes.
wait, does it
That'd be
really?
funny if it does.
No,
Oh, that'd be funny.
I'm sure it doesn't.
Well, I mean, I don't even know where to go from this. So Goosebumps.
Great question.
Trying to think. Yeah. So anyway, let's go back into the reviews of this book, because as we've seen, that is a good question though. Is this longer than a Goosebumps book? I would say. Do you remember when
Word
you're finishing?
count, maybe. You know,
I don't
I'd
know.
be curious.
I think it's under a Goosebumps book.
This feels like, I mean, this is the place to talk about this, but like when I'm reading it, it does feel sort of like when I was trying to write a debut novel in college and I got the book Jesus Son, which is by Dennis Johnson, one of the greatest books of all time. But I was like, oh, this is kind of slim. I could write a book like this. And then I had an idea and I got to like 80 pages. And then I was like, all right, well, maybe if the font's this and I put this cool lyric and
2.5 space.
2 size space, and it'll get there. This feels like that because, and look, no shade to that. I think it's fine.
Oh, yeah.
But I would argue that if this was a novella that was in like If It Bleeds, it's still even too short for that collection.
It's like fair extension.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
it's like a capper. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Where would-
funny because I mean I think Gwendy's final task is really long from what I remember comparatively.
Compared
right?
to this, I think it's around
Wendy's-
250,
300 pages.
Yeah, about 300 pages, but it also reads quickly and it has like the
It
blank
does.
pages
does.
after each chapter.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the brevity of this, and I think that's
I do
what-
I do too.
too.
I mean, I would
Yeah,
love
I think
more of
it's
this.
refreshing.
I mean, it's for me. It's definitely refreshing for this month because let's just say we are busy. So I remember like Samuel in the
use the rest.
shower. Yeah, I could use the rest. Sam, what's his name? Sam
Gerard.
Sam Gerard. Heard some awful stories, by the way, recently. Not to go on a tangent, but like I've heard some like awful Tommy Lee Jones behind the scenes, like just a nightmare behind the scenes.
I mean I believe that. I don't care.
Sucks because I love
I'm not working with him.
Love Tommy Lee. Real quick before we get into the reviews, though, like if this wasn't a novella, and maybe they did do some collaboration, like where else could this have lived in 2017?
Oof.
It's kind of like almost like the e-reader. Like what was the story? Was it
Well, like
You are.
you are.
What was the one that
The plant
just
he
read
tried
it,
to
too.
do, right?
Yeah, the plan he tried to do
Yeah.
He didn't finish it.
didn't finish. I don't think he ever will.
That's probably I know what he wrote for the plant is longer than Gwendy's button box.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because I remember I was going
and
to be on
trust
that
me, I had
episode.
to read it.
God. And there's no ending, which is fucking madness.
Yeah.
It just ends, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just came to mind because we did just finish, Bizarre Bad Dreams. I don't think this fits on that, and obviously
I don't think so
he
either.
had already published that, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But I think the e-reader would have been the only thing that he probably could have thrown it out at.
Yeah, and I think also the Cemetery Dance being kind of like a horror magazine at times too. It kind of lends itself to having like a little more brevity in the text. But it's almost like an email chain between friends when you hear how
does.
Chizmar describes it.
Yeah.
Well, and like you mentioned Joyland earlier, it feels more like the hard case true crime-ish stories that he did. Like if I'm thinking about the Colorado Kid, this feels like very similar in tone
Definitely, yeah.
and length here. But there's just no crime, so you couldn't squeeze it in. Even though the crime like angle there, I think kind of gets stretched a little bit. But I don't know where else it would go, and I kind of like that it just exists on its own because I think it feels very singular, and it's got its own really distinct tone in a way that I think the Colorado Kid and Elevation do too. That I think if it was paired with other stuff, I wonder if it would diminish it.
I'd add one more. It's like Cycle of the Werewolf as well. in that
Yes.
regard.
Yes.
Like where would that?
Which
you couldn't
is-
put that really in a collection
Nowhere
of
else.
any types, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Like
one
this
type
could
of-
almost be like a thick graphic novel if they really wanted to do it, just
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
it's short enough to
And
do
it's
it.
even got like a YA feel to it too.
It does.
So I think that would work. I think it'd be cool. Or a pop-up book, a la.
Oh, Girl with Love
is-
Tongue.
Dragon.
or-
Yeah.
I almost said the girl with the dragon.
The Girl with the Dragon. It's, I mean,
Boy.
honestly,
I don't want to
same
see
case.
that.
You don't want to see
pop-up
halfway
book.
through that book.
No.
That pop up
that'd
gets
be
a
a
little awkward.
pretty rough one. Okay, so with this though, we got to talk about the series itself. I don't want to get too far into it, but this is kind of a conundrum for us because we have covered the series. Other than what is it, the second one, that Gwendy's tall feather?
We're trying to keep this a positive
yeah.
episode.
Gwendy's
Okay.
magic feather. Yes.
Okay. Well,
But
do
we can spoil the third. We'd cover it. It's a full book episode. out
It's
there.
but it's in the Patreon, and we're still doing chronology. So I don't want to. I don't want to.
yeah.
Go, but knowing that you've read the others, do you think that this could have been? When someone mentioned just the one and done aspect of it, and that's what I always thought. I never thought this was going to be a series. Looking back now that we know that it is a series, do you kind of think it should have just ended here?
No, I
I'm-
actually like that last one.
Yeah?
I liked.
I do too.
I like the ending, especially of Final
Yeah.
Task.
Yeah. I think that the trilogy really works. The second book maybe drags the most compared to the three, but I'll just say, like, there's a line in this where Richard Ferris tells Gwendy how she will die later in
Yeah.
her life, and that is non-canonical.
Oh,
based
interesting.
on what happens later. So
Oh.
it actually,
Right.
it does seem like they were planning to end this here, but I think it got such a good reception that they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we can actually go ahead and change this. Because
Oh,
like
I was
Bella
wondering
said,
about that.
I was
Yeah, she-
curious, but they actually, even in the I won't spoil the third book, but she actually even calls out Ferris for lying or misleading what happens to her.
But
I thought that was
she
Although,
does
you
live
know-
like an enchanted life, right? Like she has
Yeah, if
success in
somebody
everything.
tells me that lie, I think I'm okay. Like
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that, And it's interesting because, King does not write on Magic Feather too. So I would be curious to know how those books came about. Did he
Right.
say, "Hey, I've got more to this. Do you want to collaborate with me again?" And then King was like, "No, suck it," and
Yeah.
then just
And then-
decided for the third one to come back. I'm sure it was. He probably just had other stuff and he couldn't do it right
Steven's
now.
like going grocery shopping, and it's like he like sees Richard like pop up from like the
Oh, hey.
shelves. Oh hey Steven, I'm working on the third book. Could
what
really use
was
your
he
help.
what was he working on? Was it Elevation, I guess? Or was it
Probably
if it
right
bleeds,
around
or-
that time, but
Yeah.
remember.
But Chizmar did mention, because he said he's like one day he was like, you know what, Steven? He's like, I think I got more adventures for Gwendy, and he kind of gave him his blessing and was like, I don't know if I'm really feeling her as a muse. I think he was kind of like Holly was probably more of a muse.
I'm sure.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
Chizmar kind of made it sound like we joked like, oh, it's like the kid having fun in the sandbox and being like, oh, look at this. And then King reached out and was like, I want to go back to this world. Like, I want to, push her story further. So I think he enjoyed reading the second one, but it does feel a little different than the other two books.
It does.
What's the difference between Gwendy's Magic Feather? That's the title, right?
Second one,
Yeah.
Oh, pulled that one right out of my noggin. And what's the difference between that and It's the End of the World as We Know It, the collection of Stan stories that are set in the world of Stephen King?
That is a great point. No, I'm going to side tangent about the Stan stories. I wonder if they're gonna. Man, we cannot do it.
I know
we
we
have
can't
to
do
stay
it.
the course. I'm
We
sorry.
have to stay the course. All
We
right.
stay the
So let's
course.
go into the reviews. Keep all this in mind. But surprisingly enough, I wasn't able to find too many reviews. Maybe they got wiped away in 2017 when all the sites back then did a little thing called pivot to video.
Ooh, shots.
Shots fired for sure. But however, I did find one from USA Today, the alma mater for my aunt, actually. Although she didn't write this review. Brian Truitt did. Jen, do you want to give this one a read?
Yeah. The reader spins through Gwendy's teenage years pretty quickly here, getting to know her well enough, but missing some of the folksiness and magic that's made King's past Small Wonder so great. Still, the book is extremely well-paced, and with not that many pages to turn, it's a fun read that never loses momentum. Gwendy also acts as a neat sidebar to King's other Castle Rock tomes. Hardcore fans get an expansion of the weird town's geography, and Gwendy's button box feels like it belongs in this locale that's always been a pit stop for scary Americana and the normal turned deadly, as in Cujo's Sweet St. Bernard becoming a killing machine. Gwendy's nicely captures that same winning dichotomy between the innocent and the sinister. Things go very wrong around this little girl, and King and Chizmar leave you wondering if it's the potential horrific danger of the box or just life itself being kind of a putz.
That's a good point about it being kind of fodder for this, because when I don't think of Cujo so much as I think of like Needful Things, where it's like
Yeah.
Right.
you have this sort of I mean, it's a pseudo monkey's paw, but at the same time, there's something celestial happening here, and there's a figure that's behind the buttons. Richard Ferris in the same way that Leland Gaunt is. What do you make of the dichotomy here, though? Because it's like, do you think that this book goes dark enough, or do you think that it stays at just is it kind of a little Goldilocks here where it's just right?
I think. Oh, go ahead, Jen.
No, you go.
Oh,
no,
I
I'll
was
go.
going to say,
No, I'm
I
kidding.
think
Somebody go.
yeah, Midwest standoff. I think the fact that it is from like a tween girl's POV, it actually serves it better that it doesn't get as dark, because she does have like we were saying, an enchanted life, right? She's doing well in school. Her parents are coming back together. She's like very attractive. She's smart. So there's no reason for it to be kind of like dour and in the dumps. And I think even it's nice to have her kind of contemplate, like when she does the Guyana and that's the Jonestown massacre.
Exactly.
You're never fully sure if it's her fault. I'm leaning toward it is her fault, but they don't fully reveal it. And I think that's what kind of makes the mystery about it. It kind of like clips along at a nice pace, and it does make it a little young adult, but I liked it. I think it works.
I mean,
well, it resembles the old folklore tale of the box, where everything does go fine for the protagonists. They're fine. They excel. But the nightmare happens somewhere else. And like you said, Flieger, they do a good job of just kind of going into her head about the guilt of it all, presupposing, is all of this my fault? Is every bad thing that's happening that I know about my fault?
Yeah, when I read it, it doesn't feel scary. It doesn't really feel like horror. And I think you really have to apply logic, or you have to like dig in to extra textual readings of it to find the horror in it, because you're right, it's all about what's happening and what the grander story represents, kind of like The Lottery. Like that's not horrific until the very end, and it feels really kind of sunny and fun in a lot of ways. And I think I agree. I like that it doesn't go too dark, because the horror, I think, really comes from you, and that it's almost like a Rorschach test for like, what would I do with this box, and what are my anxieties coming out. And I find that really fun. It's also so easy to read too. Like there are a couple of scary scenes, and there's one little gross moment, but like it's not going to keep me up at night. And no, I really enjoy it.
That's what I was thinking of, because like it's weird that you mentioned Goosebumps earlier, because Goosebumps, I guess, just hit on Tubi, and I do some of the socials for BD, so I was like kind of finding some images, and I stumbled upon a few of them, and I was like, oh man, these really do end like really dark, and like they're actually pretty disturbing. I'd actually say probably more disturbing than this story. Like, I will say, we'll get to the cemetery, and I've actually have a few bits that didn't necessarily scare me so much as it is kind of that moral quandary that it puts upon you. Although I want to hold this because there's a larger discussion I want to have based on exactly what you're getting at. I did want to know, because I don't use Goodreads, and I know everyone here use Goodreads, or is it just Justin?
I do.
I dabble.
You dabble?
I forget that it exists for long periods of time.
Okay. Well, I know the Gerberlytics, if there's statistics to be had, it's going to be there. And I managed to find some familiar faces when I was looking for reviews. I was like, I saw Joanne Trotter. I saw Sadie Hartman. But this has a 3.92 on Goodreads. Is it good? Is it good?
That's good. That's out of 5.
Oh, it's out of 5. Okay, cool.
That's out of 10, like brutal.
Right. I could have easily just looked up and seen what the rating system for Goodreads, but I thought I'd leave it to the co-host here to figure this out. But that's it on the history. But here's the thing. I'm thinking 1991's Steven Spielberg fantasy adventure starring the late Robin Williams and the late Dustin Hoffman after Megalopolis. So we'll find out. I'm thinking The Hook.
Ah, yes. Don't you see? Don't you see how clear it all is? Not only can you see the future, I can change it. You can change it, exactly.
So, before we get into the themes, we should probably lay out what actually this book is about, because we've been talking a lot about it. But what is the synopsis? Flieger, do you have the book with you that you could read the synopsis? Or
I actually did the audiobook for this second listen, but I can read at the website. I can read the About the Book section. Unless, Justin, you want to just do it off
Justin,
the book?
just go for it. Just go for it. You got it right here.
The back of the book is literally just a picture. So
there's no
but there is something. But there's something on the inside of the cover. Don't worry, I got.
They didn't even want to do that. They're like, all right, we can just do a photo.
It was the small town of Castle Rock, Maine has witnessed some very strange events and unusual visitors over the years. But there's one story that's never been told until now. There are 3 ways up to Castle View from the town of Castle Rock, routes 117 Pleasant Road and the Suicide Stairs. Every day in the summer of 1974, 12-year-old Gwendy Peterson has taken the stairs, which are held by strong, if time-rusted, iron bolts, and zigzag up the cliffside. At the top of the stairs, Gwendy catches her breath and listens to the shouts of the kids on the nearby playground. From a bit farther away comes a chink of an aluminum bat hitting a baseball as the senior league kids practice for the Labor Day charity game. One day, a stranger calls to Gwendy. "Hey, girl, come on over here for a bit. We ought to palaver, you and me." On the bench in the shade sits a man in black jeans, a black suit coat, and a white shirt unbuttoned at the top. On his head is a small, neat black hat. The time will come when Gwendy has nightmares about that hat. Journey back to Castle Rock and this chilling new novella. Interesting. And this
feel like
chilling
that's-
new novella by
Oh,
Stephen
there we
King.
go.
Best-selling author of The Bazaar of Bad Dreams, and Richard Chizmar, award-winning author of A Long December. I should mention at the top, it says Gwendy's Button Box, a brand new Castle Rock novella
Wow.
by Stephen King and Richard Chizmar. Wow, this is not a novel.
Confirmation. Also, I feel like that
How's
blurb
that?
is longer than the novella.
I was going to say, yes.
That was I just read 4 chapters worth.
That
like,
was
Jesus
a long
Christ.
blurb.
It's really long. No wonder they were like, just put the picture of the fucking house on the back.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so what is the hook for you, Jen?
I mean,
throwing
Stephen
it on
King is the hook for me.
Let me read
you
this
know.
again for you, Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was the clinking of the baseball bat. That's what really pulled me
Senior
in.
senior baseball.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, by this time I was gonna read it because it was Stephen King. Like, I don't know what
Same.
it would have been that pulled me in, and I wonder if that's where the 3.9 is coming from. Is that people were expecting a little bit more horror? But I think what really
I think a 3.9 is a good review, though. It's like a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
I always feel guilty reviewing things that are like more than like four.
That's fine. You
so.
can. It's okay.
It's okay if things
got-
are okay or good. Or very good. It's okay if things
But
are
they'll
very
get
good.
mad at me.
So
the movie will get mad.
Am I the only one that had to look up what a button box is? Because I've never really heard that term.
I just assumed it was a box with buttons on it.
So did I.
I took that to mean almost like it's a symbol of an iPhone, like a little magic box that you can use to advance your life, but it costs lives in other nations, like third world countries that manufacture it.
I thought it was its own thing, but like the size of like an old cash register or something.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like in my mind, I guess.
I was picturing something like the size of a toy train, but like
was like-
cash
Yeah, because it's like
register
15 inches, I
adjacent.
think they say.
I was more like a cigar box.
Yeah,
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
that's
I
a
saw.
cigar
You know
box.
what's
Is actually
great?
a really good
That's the
comparison, I think.
beauty of the imagination.
exactly.
It's what we the readers bring to it. You know?
You know, it's the time is a flowing river, and we've all got our own little memories that we put into it.
Beautiful. Well, you know, I think the hook is simple. It's what would you do if you had these quote unquote powers?
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you push the buttons? I
Well,
think that's
and-
a compelling hook.
Are they powers or are they responsibilities too?
Spider-Man.
And what happens?
Cliff Robertson.
what happens when they're in different hands? You know,
Yep.
I think the hook. When I think about the hook, for me, what I remember was Gwendy and just really liking her, and I liked spending time with this character a lot, especially in this age range too. It's something King doesn't do that often, especially for girls, and so that's what I really enjoy. But I also like, this idea of like I've got literally at my fingertips the power to destroy a continent.
Well, you know what else I
What
like
do I
about
do?
her, especially if you compare her to, and I know Dan and Jen, we don't have to go back too much, but the Miss Mercedes books and TV show, specifically the books,
Vroom,
is that
vroom, let's go
Jerome
back,
is like
baby.
is like a superhero.
Oh, superhero.
You know?
Yeah.
But the great
No
thing, the
flaws.
great conceit about Gwendy is that she literally is through supernatural means a perfect person. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
even then, she
but it makes
considers her
sense.
perfection
Exactly,
too, which I think is
exactly.
really interesting. And you know, if Jerome was the centerpiece of those books, he might do that also. They
you'd
just don't
hope
get
so.
that much time.
I
with
mean,
them, you know?
he-
hey, maybe the next one.
He really is. I mean, it's a good parallel to have when you consider just what he's working on. I mean, he finishes End of Watch. He goes into this. He's helping or working with Owen King for Sleeping Beauties, but the one
That's what
after
he was
that
also
is The
working on.
Outsider. The Outsider's right after this. So it's like, he's in pretty much surrounded by female characters at this point. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Gwendy was kind of sort of an exercise in carving out one, because when you think
Yeah.
about this book itself, it's like, I just see it as like, all right, this is the definition of character. Like you're finding someone that's trying to figure out themselves. I mean, it literally is a coming of age story in the sense of the passage of time, but also the choices that you make, but then also question. Like I keep going back to the ending where she keeps wondering, like, you know, whether or not she made, you know, her choices dictated these things that happen. Obviously we see that come to fruition with, you know, the death of a certain character that has a very drag me to hell style fate. But even so, it comes into these ideas of just like, you know, the things we carry as we get older. And I think of just like her friend with, you know, her relationship with her friend and, you know, the guilt that she has on that. And like, she gets the advantage of having someone say, no, it wasn't your fault for X, Y, and Z. But she still walks away wondering about other things. And that's kind of just life in general. I mean, like, not to sound so fucking pedantic, but like that's character. And so I wonder if this was sort of like an exercise for King to just like, I don't know, kind of figure out where he wanted to take Holly, because he goes in The Outsider right after this, and that's where you really kind of, I feel like he's starting to figure out like, oh no, I'm bringing her back and I'm going to lean in on this now. And I'm wondering if Gwendy was the touchstone.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, because that's her first book without Bill too. And I think also he's writing Sleeping Beauties too, which is so filled with female characters. And the question at the center of that book, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's similar to this. It's kind of a theological question. Like, what would you do if you had this option? And would you take it or not? And I think, yeah, maybe this was a character that was kind of born out of the workshopping of Sleeping Beauties and trying to figure out who Holly is on her own. And I've said a lot of times, I think King is gradually figuring out who Holly is. And every time we get to a Holly book, I like her a little bit more. And I think that's all this really is. It's like this question of what does a good person do with this kind of power? And it's really refreshing too, to not have like a really gross character too. Like I'm thinking about like, if this box were in the hand of like the Kid or something, like that would be, or Steve Kemp or something, that would be a totally different book, you know?
Steve Kemp just like sitting there just being like, I could jizz on it.
You try to press the buttons with other things.
God.
You finished reading before you finised, period.
Yeah. God. Fligger, what about you? What do you take? What's your takeaway from this?
Kind of like I was saying earlier too, like I think there's like some kind of symbolism about first world versus third world, right? Because it's these other continents. But I really found a lot of Dark Tower connections in this, because even like the colors of the buttons represent some of Merlin's rainbow, the orbs. And I think that Ferris is kind of like in Insomnia, there's like the bald doctors, right?
Oh, yeah.
And some of them represent
Scissors.
randomness and some of them represent order. And I feel like this is like a version of Flag that maybe could adhere to order a little bit more, but there's also a randomness in who he gives the box to. It's almost like the ring in Lord of the Rings, where he's like, I can't have this in my possession, but he finds these sort of shepherds to take it off his hands. And I think the fact that there's 6 buttons on it, it kind of corresponds to the 6 spokes or the 12 spokes on the wheel, you know, like around the Dark Tower. So I think there's a lot of stuff going on without it being very explicit. But even like the first turtle candy that comes out is a turtle.
Yeah,
right.
That's I didn't even think about that.
Well, I mean, Flieger, as we know, like where this heads, like Final Task is basically its own Dark Tower story, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Which is weird that this is called a Castle Rock book too, because I think like there are more ties to the Dark Tower than there are Castle Rock here. It's really just set in Castle Rock.
Yeah, it seems like they were. I wonder if King was like, you know, it's an easy town for you to, you know.
well, even
Yeah.
Elevation,
Let's have
I
a
think, is
playground.
Castle Rock,
It
isn't it?
is,
And
yeah.
nothing,
Is
not
it?
a lot of stuff
Seems
happens.
like nothing really happens. I think the
Leland
stories
Gaunt
you
doesn't
wanted to
show
tell.
up to the shop, right? And,
No, or like-
he's oh, you opened up a store too, I see.
Oh, I see. You have enchiladas that are serving here. Can I have one?
Delicious.
Yum. I'm glad you mentioned the ring aspect, because I certainly got Lord of the Rings vibes in the
Oh,
sense
yeah,
of just the
my
responsibility and how it lingers on her, and that to me actually warranted some of the more like unnerving parts of this book, because there is something to be said of like I think of the way that she sees her button box is kind of the way it was when you remember when you'd have like a class animal or something you would bring home, and like admittedly I was pretty stoked to get the class animals one time, because didn't really get to have a gerbil growing up. So I was like, oh, this would be cool. But then I remember like getting it and being like, oh no, what if something happens? Like it would be all on me. And it became like I remember that weekend, even 30 years later, of just being like so nervous of like going to my friend's birthday party and be like, oh, I got to go home because, you know, I'm taking care of the gerbil this weekend. And it became this like weight, even though obviously it's just a fucking gerbil, but it is a life. And, you know, but it was there lingering it. And I didn't want it after that end of it. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that I just think about like her as this young kid that's looking at this box and trying to figure out where to put it. I don't know. I understood the anxiety, and I thought that King did a pretty good job of capturing that, and just that weight of responsibility, which I think is like permeates throughout this entire book. Which does it inform? Like, does her sense of responsibility, not to spoil too much of the other books, but like, does that inform her journey for like the next 2 books? Or
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
I think she realizes the awesome extent that, you know, of power, and there is like some parallels to like Frodo bringing the ring to what was it?
Mordor. Yeah.
Right.
The upside down.
That's right.
And that's what I think is interesting about her being a good person too, is because we see the temptation that the box has to corrupt, and we see her having these nightmares, but ultimately overcoming them. Right. And, you know, towards the end, and I might be stepping on something we're going to talk about later, but like, I like the parallel to the button box being like a typewriter. And I wonder if King is thinking like, I have this massive platform, and I wonder, and this is, you know, if this is 2017, then we've just seen an election too. So I wonder if he's thinking like, how much responsibility do I have to shape major events, you know?
I mean, we know when it comes to Trump, he absolutely thinks of Stilson. And Stilson has his own button box that takes place in Castle Rock. I mean, it's there's some Katie, I don't know, but the one thing
now I was like, who's got the fucking box right now? Like, let's get it away from him.
Like, here's one moment that made me think of just King's anxiety of whether or not he's had his success or it's a dream, kind of like the occurrence of Owl Creek Bridge thing. It's at the end. It's on page 162. It says, Richard Ferris says, like, now I'll thank you to give me the button box. Your work is done. At least that part of the work is done. You still have many things to tell the world, and the world will listen. You'll entertain people, which is the greatest gift a man or a woman can have. You'll make them laugh, cry, gasp, think. By the time you're 35, you'll have a computer to write on instead of a typewriter, but both are button boxes of a kind, wouldn't you say? You will live a long life. We're going to play armchair psychiatrist, but like, you got to think like at King's writing this, is he's thinking like, he has some sort of sense of responsibility in his own things? Like, is he aligning his own sort of, you know, path of responsibility and storytelling and the success that he's had? Is he again wondering like, oh, did I really get this, or did I really earn this? Because I mean, that's just been this constant back and forth, I feel like, with him, where he's like, you know, am I McDonald's and French fries, or did I really deserve this success? Like, I saw a lot of his own sort of inner monologuing in that, but then again, watch it be like Chizmar that wrote that passage.
Like the Rage controversy, for example. Like,
I
obviously didn't have any issues with that being pulled, you know? I mean, so he has some.
But it's like, is it better to be good or lucky, right? And that's like, I mean, I think it's better to be lucky most times, just in general. You know, Gwendy has this blessed life, but she's also wondering, like, did I earn this? Or, you know what I mean? Like, was this some kind of greater fate that was guiding my hand?
Yeah.
Carrie pulled out of the trash can by Tabitha.
I was thinking the exact moment, Justin, of like just the sliding doors aspect of like, well,
I think he goes back to that all the time. I think that's his, sliding door is a good example. I think that's his sliding door. I think he thinks about that probably every day.
Well, and I think if we look at what's going to happen after this book comes out, and maybe why he thought about going back for the third one, is like The Stand was about to get remade, and then we had a worldwide pandemic too. So there's this idea of like, and obviously he didn't cause that, but it's this idea of like things intertwining.
There were some rumors.
Well, King says
I have not watched Plandemic recently.
Well,
so
King says he's scared of flying, but he was surreptitiously around the Wuhan clinic in 2019. Anyway,
what I heard.
It's just what I heard. That's what I heard on Anderson Cooper. Let's talk a little bit more about the book for just a second in everyone's favorite section. Now, I look back at the year. I ask everyone their favorite section. What do you like? Do you like the news? Do you like needful tweets? Do you like the cemetery? Scary stuff. And always, it's structure and format.
Structure and format is a category for people who love the meeting notes like me. So
Yes.
all my meeting notes hive people rise up.
Jen has said it all. And
I mean, not much to be said here.
Stand by.
I mean, it's third person omniscient, right? Yeah.
let me consort Franny's notes on the structure and format.
Yes, she got them word for word. So
Unbelievable.
they're correct.
She's the best.
I only kept this category in because, and I think we already addressed this, but like the pacing of this book is really good. And I don't know if I credit it to just their back and forth, but God, you just devour this. Like, and it's so short that it reminds me honestly of like Jurassic Park, the novel, where it's just like you have these little sections and you're like, I see the ending of the next one. I'll do that one. And then all of a sudden 100 pages go by.
Yes. I think this, I think it would have been a lot clunkier if King was trying to write in the voice of a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
I think this works much better third person omniscient.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also in present tense, which is something that we just talked about in the Mercedes trilogy. And we might be missing something big, and if we are, let us know. But we were talking about that trilogy really being one of the first times King writes a major work in present tense, and the way that those books really move. Love them or hate them, once you get going towards that climax, it really speeds up. And I think he's in that mode right now too, like present tense. Let's keep it moving. And I love it.
Yeah. And also it goes with the story of the observation, like the act of looking in, because Ferris is keeping an eye on her as well as other things. So I think having the third person omniscient really kind of lends itself here, because you wonder, she sees him a few times, like he'll appear out of the corner of her eye. So you get the sense that like, this could be his memoirs of him just writing about her for all we know.
Yeah. Justin.
When you're working at this type of a pace where aside from maybe the first couple chapters, I feel like every chapter is about 4 pages long. Yeah. And that's with that double space, like there's no room for error. And what I mean by that is it's not like there was a time crunch and you can't make an error. I mean, because of the length of these chapters, there was so little room to make an error. You're going 4 pages, just don't fuck up these 4 pages.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to the next set piece a couple years later, maybe for 4 or 5 pages. And then we're going to move on again. So yeah, I think the structure that way, as we've all said, the book clips along better than just as fast as any other King book, honestly.
Yeah, it almost feels like a diary entry. Some of these,
it does.
Yeah,
which would be
it feels like live
for a girl
journal
that age.
Yeah.
And
Jen.
I wonder if that has to do with the collaboration too. If they're kind of trying to keep up with each other, or like not outdo each other, but like be on their best game. Especially Chizmar, if he's nervous about this, and King probably too. He's like, okay, I'm letting somebody into my writing window that I normally don't do. We know from on writing, and so I've got to be on my best behavior too. And he's omitting needless words all over the place here, and I think that's partly why this is so successful.
Do you think there was ever moments when the writing process where like, Rich sends him over what he's got, like Steven's really busy and he just didn't get an answer, like, and it's like, he's gonna
or
get back
Steven
to
writes
me.
back, he goes, Pete wouldn't have done that for the talisman.
It's like, we're done.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I got it from here.
Or he just gets back, like it's marked up like a big X in the middle. Like, try again.
That stuff is what.
No, I'm sure they were very kind and supportive. It was
Yeah,
probably
I
like
believe that.
a really great working relationship.
You could say based on this book, the creators were certainly no heroes and villains.
I'm gonna have to kill this fucking clown. Welcome to the Losers Club, asshole!
I don't know if that made sense, but
Wait a minute. I think there's something that might be
We don't question the transitions, okay?
I would
just
say
go with them.
and they could have been or, but no, they were and. They couldn't be and because they were all in sync together. Anyway, we're here in Heroes and Villains. We're going to be talking about some of the characters. Gotta say, I know there are a lot of characters in this book. I know there are some bullies. We don't have Randall here to do a Bowers Power Hour. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, Frankie.
Frankie's there. He's a scumbag.
Fucking Frankie, man.
Let's talk about Gwendy. And we've already talked about her a lot. We know that she's a good person. What do we make of the idea that she literally confirms that there is a power to this box because she actually puts, wrong answers on her tests and still gets A's. She realizes with her friends that she's always winning the board games and the card games, et cetera, et cetera. What do you make of the actual like King and Chizmar showing that that's actually happening? Because they could have kept it vague, and by adding that in there, they do confirm that like there is some sort of supremacy that's beyond her knowledge, and she's aware of it. Is the character the same if they don't do that?
I just feel like this works again with this novella. Maybe this wouldn't work if it was a novel, or if it was honestly, if it was a shorter story, maybe it wouldn't have worked. But you've got just enough space, and you were following her along for 10 years, right? So you've got just enough time to say, as time went on, this is happening now. She's not getting hurt. She's really excelling at everything, and they drop in those nuggets about not just her parents. Right? So there's also like this weird positive effect that's happening, not just to her directly, but to the people she cares about. Like almost like a wish fulfillment is happening in that regard. So it would be a different story, Mike, but for me, I can't imagine this without that element.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't be able to move the rapid clip if you were going to have these vagaries in there. You have to kind of punch in and say, no, this is what's happening. But Jen, do you... Fleeger, go for it.
Oh, I was going to say also like the presence of the chocolates and the coins, right? That there could only be a finite amount, and the fact that it seems infinite kind of speaks to the magical quality that it has, right? And I think, without getting too spoilery into the next books, but her good fortune continues in many, she's like in athletics, in professional work, it's just everything about her is just blessed. She has like this Midas touch. And I actually developed like a crush on her by the second book. Because she does seem like pretty, I don't know, she seems like a very neat person. And, gets very powerful too as the story goes on.
But all right, but to Jen, what do you wish it was a little bit more of on her? Like, I mean, there is choice here, but in a way, there's not though, because if she's using this box, I mean, like, there is choice because she decides not to do it. Never mind, I take that back. But do you wish it was a little more vague, that it wasn't actually defined, or do you think it works?
I think it works really well. I like the idea that maybe the success is a curse too, because at a certain point it starts to push people away. And, she does make the argument that her boyfriend is dead because she has this relationship with the box. Like this Frankie asshole is obsessed with her because of her good looks and because of her success and because she's perfect. And I think if this were a longer novel, I might be a little bit annoyed by that perfection. Like I almost just said, manic pixie Gwendy girl, like there's an element of like too good to be true, but I think the story actually interrogates that, and I really like it.
Exactly.
And I think the powers kind of so there's this other podcast that I listen to called Ghost in the Burbs, and it's fantastic. It's about like mildly spooky stories from outside of Boston, and there's one of them about a similar story where a woman makes a deal with a djinn, and this djinn
Andrew Divoff
grants it all the wishes. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Does this make Randall Flagg the Wishmaster?
My God, don't get me started. If Divoff played Richard Ferris in the adaptation of this,
oh man,
hello.
I mean,
Gwendy,
we don't have an
Peterson.
adaptation yet, so
Be careful what you push.
Divoff has the brewery, right?
He doesn't.
Or he
anymore.
did, or he did though, right?
It closed down like last year.
Right.
I was very upset.
But like he's just kind of sitting there in Castle Rock Park or whatever that's called, just like I'm enjoying myself a steed.
Gwendy.
The red stands.
That's right.
The red button. Antarctica stands for the black button, but we'll get into that later on.
Is it like, is it Divoff now or Divoff like Toy Soldiers Divoff? Like kind of
Toy Soldiers. I love Toy Soldiers Divoff because he's got that long, crazy hair, like it's kind of in a ponytail.
Yeah.
Listen, I have to say something about this question you had asked. But
Yeah, go for it. Please.
There's one caveat I'd like to make though about the vagary. This kind of goes into misery a little bit, but I do wish it was left a little bit more open in regards to, did she cause these tragedies?
100%. That's
a little bit. That's when there's too much explanation. I feel like I wish that Ferris had gone full flag, #full flag, and just been a little teasing about it. Like, wouldn't you like to know, or something like that, and let leave.
That's kind of where I forgot that it actually is so defined at the end, and I was a little shocked by it because King's not usually the type to do that. Or maybe he is. I don't know.
See,
maybe
I don't trust Richard though. He says it's not her fault, but I don't trust him. And he's known, to not be a good person, right?
Yeah.
So there's no reason to believe. what he says is 100%
But at the same
true.
time, why would he give her that out? If he's trying to be...
But that's what I'm saying. He's like an agent of chaos, as it were.
Yeah,
That
just
he's never
to
going to fully
announce-
be honest.
Yeah, he's inviting the doubt in. I think that part of her, I kind of like how defined it is, because she's told that no, this is not my fault, but she knows she pushed the button, but maybe it wasn't really. Like, I think it still allows for ambiguity, but also the ambiguity of like, this guy is not a good person after all, maybe. And it's interesting. I wanted to talk a little bit about Flag, because he doesn't seem very villainous to me here. He seems
Well, that's the
almost
point I was
like
making
a
too.
hero. Yeah, exactly. So without that, I think he just seems like a good guy who just granted all her wishes and everything's great, except there's this sinister side to it. And I think the curse of this thing is that she's always going to be questioning, like, did I actually cause this? And what would have happened if I pressed another button, and what's going to happen next when somebody else presses a button?
Did we need a stipulation? Like, would this up the stakes if he had said, all right, you got to push these buttons 3 times before I come back? Like something, because
Like
you could
the
have just...
actual box story?
Yeah,
you have to press it?
think of it this way. Like, all right, if she just continues to get the silver dollars and the chocolate, which you could have done, and she doesn't let curiosity get her, and she doesn't push any of the buttons, like, is she a better person?
I like that what's driving her, not crazy necessarily, but it's really making her paranoid throughout the whole story, is not knowing when he's going to come back. I think there's actually a part in the book, Jen, I know you just literally listened to it 2 hours ago, where I think she says, is she going to have to worry about this for the rest of her life?
Yeah.
So I like that element, actually, of not knowing when I'm going to be able to get rid of this.
But
thing.
like, if he says you have to push these buttons, because she doesn't have to, and
Yeah.
like I forgot that. I forgot about that, because
I think that is once again a great point of leaving up to her, and it's the old. It's like the Ren and Stimpy, do not push the red button.
Yes,
and of course they have to push it, because it's just, and the curiosity will always drive us in that way.
And it goes to like Frodo in the ring, right? It's you can't really tell the person carrying it what to do. It's their burden. You can only kind of sit back and watch. And it does, over time, the more she pushes it, the more effect it has on everything around her world, good or bad. But it's like how you go into like the shadow realm in Lord of the Rings, and the more you use it, the more you get addicted to that sense of power.
Yeah.
Is she a better person if she doesn't touch it, though?
I think that's the question. And also, like, if he tells her you have to push it 3 times, that lets her off the hook, too. Like, she gets to indulge in pushing it and blame it on him.
Yes, that's true. Okay, yeah.
I think that's part of what I like about this story is it would be really easy to make this a really cut and dry thing, and her success is never pushing a button, but she's a human being and she can't resist it. And I like when she destroys the suicide stairs, because that seems like a really honest reaction to this grief. And she's like, well, I do have some power. I can do something. And then she does it. And every time you use that power or use that muscle, it pushes you a little further down the road to just using it all the time. There's some button that it's ringing in my head, and I can't, but it's just like the absolute power corrupting. And so her success, I think, is not becoming corrupted by this.
Well, let's go back to the history of this, because it was the Indus Valley civilization that is credited for inventing the button, and that dates back to 2000 BCE. They were the earliest buttons that were made from shells and were used to indicate wealth or status. They are worn in complex geometric patterns rather than in straight lines like buttons are worn today. Of course, I'm talking about buttons that are on our clothing, whether they are the actual civilization that created the buttons that would then be on the button box. Therein lies the mystery. Is this story good if she doesn't touch the box?
No, nothing would happen.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
If it's a short story, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about like a short, like Man Who Loved Flowers length short story, not
Yeah.
like a 30-page short story.
Yeah. Well, I'm just very curious about like the implications of the rest of the box, but I think that's what's fun about it. I mean,
You're as curious as young Gwendy was.
I am,
There is a version that says if you don't push a button at one point, I'm going to take this box away and give it to somebody else.
Yes.
So then raising the stakes a little bit. Because, she for all she knows, she's going to have this for the rest of her life.
I mean, and she could. I mean, if you think about it, because I really got in my head about this, because I was just like, well, if she did hold on to it and you just keep getting the you know, the candies and the silver dollars, it's like, I don't know. I don't think I'd have. I guess this is the question. What would you do? Because personally,
Great question.
the chocolates
Yeah.
and the silver dollars, that's enough for me. I don't need to even think about the other fucking buttons. If he's already hinted that it could be global destruction, like
But that's how he gets you.
Well, we
you know,
should-
you can't not think about it.
And we should talk about, you know, the villain, like Harris, or what's his name, and this Richard Ferris.
Ferris.
But
the late
I
Richard
think
Harris
if he is a guy that's
of
like,
Unforgiven.
but if he is jumping between like dimensions and worlds, I think that he cannot have it on himself personally because he thinks there's worse people out there that if they took it, it would be disastrous, right? So he has to find these minders from time to time, and I think that's what he's identifying. And just to add to the nature, I'm realizing the book he's reading in the beginning. Do you know what it is?
Oh, it's Gravity's Rainbow. Right?
Gravity's Rainbow by Thomas Pynchon, and the orbs are Merlin's rainbow, right? So I think that adds a little bit to it. But and also with the Gravity's Rainbow, if you guys have ever read that, it's about like the arc that a missile takes when it goes up in the air and lands. So there is something about
that
global
book,
destruction and
Yeah.
war.
and crying, was it crying at lot 49? I'm just terrified to open up those books.
Yeah,
I just
V
feel
is really
so
good.
intimidating.
Caffrey got me to read that.
Yeah, I thought V was pretty good. I also liked. That was a whole other podcast.
Wait, is that the one that Paul Thomas Anderson's adapting right now?
That's Vineland.
Vineland.
Allegedly.
All
Allegedly.
Okay, yeah.
I started Vineland. I was just like, I can't do
No
this.
good?
No,
Or-
it's not even that's good. It's just he's a very specific style, and
It's very
Yeah.
dense.
very dense. It was
Like
very
you'll have like
hard for me to
200
get into.
speaking characters and like
Wait,
lots
is-
of history intertwining.
Is it like a Ulysses dense or
It's deliberately impenetrable.
okay? Well, that sounds fun. I'll wait until
I'll stick with
PTA
Wendy.
Yeah,
is able
I'll
to.
stick with 140.
He does the
page
homework.
Wendy.
He did do Inherent Vice.
Button box.
That's a Pynchon.
I love Inherent Vice.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. I enjoyed
Yeah.
that. I enjoyed V, but it's just hard for me to be like, I gotta go on the pension binge. A bension.
The Binchin. That's a good point though, because if you, I mean, it's RF, so it's clearly the Randall flag.
flag.
Yeah.
It's flag. But if you are thinking about him having this device that he feels as if he needs to put to someone, I mean, I guess he would be the agent of chaos though, because it's like we don't know Flag as being this like, you know, good-natured person. I mean, he's used for no good. There's no good that's on that he's not a device for good.
Yeah.
So, and yet Ferris is, I don't know. He's not evil here.
Well, here's the thing, though, when you really think about this too, is that granted she makes it out in the end okay, right? But he added a lot of stress to this girl's life for 10 years.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and you know, I think that there is some type of a chaotic element there. Like, no matter what, yeah, sure, I can trust this person, and at the same time, kind of fuck with her life.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I was comparing it to like Insomnia. It's Atropos and Clotho, the agent of the random and the agent of order. So I don't even know what plan, you know, Flag's or Ferris's actual plan is. I don't think anyone can. So we don't know if it's good or bad. This might just be a little, you know, side quest for him as far as is concerned. But he obviously has like means towards serving the Crimson King and the Tower. So this might just be, again, like one of his little tasks that he has to accomplish that we can't really fully see the implications of.
You know what this
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of? This reminds me of. I've only seen one episode. I sound like Lionel Hutz now, but I've only seen one episode. But it's
sound
like
was off, but I think I got the gist of
I
it.
think I got the gist of it. But it's like the concerns I had with HBO's The Penguin. It's like, oh yes, this lovable villain who takes a young one under his steed, and then he's gonna come back and what, like kill and burn people alive. I mean, that's kind of what I feel like Richard Ferris is here. It's like, oh yeah, here they had like a nice little chat at the end. You know, kind of reminds me of, you know, the ending of like Good Will Hunting or something like that, when they're like sitting by the fucking river or some shit. But like, he's still Randall Flagg.
Almost famous.
Yeah, or like almost famous. You know, like he's like the Lester Bangs to her. Like it's just like
What did you learn about the button box? In a word, everything.
everything.
Well, and I think that makes him more interesting to me.
But
Like I like this
Fox.
kind of
Yeah.
cheery version of him, you know, because we know everything else that he's done, and we know how horrible he is in the Stand, and that he's, I think, trying to take down the Dark Tower. That's my understanding of that whole thing. But like, if the way
Until
that
Mordred
he-
comes around.
I think it's
No, I'm just
been a
joking. No, don't worry. I just
I do have a question.
yeah.
would you've given this book 1 star? I ask all 3 of you this. If it ends with him like leaving the house after taking the button box back and like seeing like a jean jacket and being like, I'll be taking this.
I would have given it 5 stars if that had happened, Justin. Maybe there's a Saint Bernard wearing that jean jacket.
There's like there's a Smileys.
I think that would be more of like a cinema sin than a literature. Like I think in a book you can get away with that, but in a movie it just looks really lame.
God!
Here's
the pause.
Here's the ending that would blow my brains out. He walks out. He finds a jean jacket. Mr. Peterson walks by and starts sneezing, and then he looks across the way and sees he sees a sign of a truck that says Camber Ranch, and then he taps the top of a VW Bug, and it's like, drive safely, and then like leaves or whatever.
No,
it's like every Castle Rock.
I'll top it up for the 3 of you who hate this. Frankie survives, and then they're like, God, I really hate that kid. It turns out the kid in the stand is Frankie who survived.
Can you believe that happy crappy?
Honestly,
got
though,
away.
So where do we? All right, real quick on Frankie, because he's the other real pivotal character other than her hunk boyfriend that we don't need to talk about, who reminds me so much of the Harvey character from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Anyway, Frankie though? Like, yeah, I know you were already. I'm telling you. You were worrying about taxes.
You don't like stories about teen witches, Justin?
You know,
I was out there watching like picket fences. I wasn't
fences.
watching Sabrina Teenage Witch.
You're like wondering if Grisham's the Rainmaker is going to make a good
I was
movie.
like, why are people making fun of the English Patient?
I love The Rainmaker. That is a good movie.
I do
like
The Rainmaker.
Francis Ford Coppola. I wonder if it's better than Megalopolis.
I guarantee it.
Probably.
I'll say yes.
Adam Driver fuck anybody on a table?
Let me give me the button box.
Anyway,
there's not really any.
What's your question?
There's not really any depth to those characters, though. Harry and Frankie, I thought
they're just
were not
there
very well established and written. They kind of just were placeholders for.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like the classic
forces.
bully that turns sexual assaulter guy.
The one character I really liked, and I can't remember his name, but the coin dealer.
Yes. He was nice.
I just I love that chapter because it's like, and I have to believe that was definitely King that wrote that chapter, because it just felt so like he's so good at creating these sort of one and dones. And I just I totally bought the guy, down to his mannerisms, down to how he even responds and talks to her, and he comes out with the blade. I really loved that stretch of the book, like that, and I love that character. Who?
Hey,
he reminded me of God.
Marine.
I can't remember his name. Who is the older fellow who helps out Roland in Song of Susanna?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
No.
You know what I'm talking about? Oh, is it like Calvin Tower and the guy that hangs out at the bookstore?
No, he helps him. I think he ends up taking him to.
It's one of the drivers, right? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Wasn't in Hearts in Atlantis? Is it the Anthony?
It's not Ted
Hopkins
Brodigan
character.
No, it's not Ted Brodigan.
No. I'll find it. Keep going. I'll find it.
Well,
I'll find it. Don't worry.
Either way, just these little side characters where I'm like, man, you could just roll the dice and kill, and it's just great. I just love that stuff. But yeah, it's surprisingly pretty light. Like even her friends, like Olive, like you're supposed to feel something. I don't feel anything. It's just
No, they feel like object lessons, like they're like obstacles that she's gonna get over in a way that I really enjoy. Like I don't need to know anything else about Harry, and Frank sucks. But yeah, I think she feels like a real character. And now that I'm thinking, like the way he approaches her too is to play on her vanity. And I think the easiest thing in the world would be for somebody to just throw this thing in the ocean or put it, like freeze it, put it in a safe deposit box, forget that it exists. But because it's got this temptation of, well, I do want to be skinny and I do want to be attractive and I do want to be successful. Like that's what keeps her coming back. And that's what I think Ferris is more of a chaos agent than he feels like in this. Like I think he's a lot more sinister if you really start to dig into what he's doing here, because I think he's just fucking with her.
Guys, by the way, I'm thinking of John Cullum.
From
Song of Susanna, who helps out Eddie and Roland. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Love Song of Susanna.
Nuts.
Well, look, November 30th. Is that a day? Do you recognize
That's
that
my
day?
birthday!
That is your birthday. And it's also the day that my local theater, Vidiot's, is going to be playing our next category, Misery.
She died. She just slipped away.
Slipped away! Slipped away! She didn't just slip away! You did it! 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 You murdered my misery!
Annie!
All right, Misery. What we didn't like. I mean, I don't know. Justin, you got something?
I'm not sure about the three of you, but if anybody got me a subscription to Coinage magazine at some point for like a birthday or Christmas present, like that's be like the worst possible gift you can give somebody.
You know who has that subscription is Beatty from A Good Marriage, and he's a serial killer.
Well, you said it all, Jen. I think the demographic is serial killer.
Serial killers and nerds.
Coinage was this a monthly? Was this a quarterly magazine?
Coinage Weekly.
Was it
okay, we got to keep up with the hot Coinerly.
Oh my
Look,
God,
there are
I mean,
people that love
Jesus.
my ex-father-in-law loved coins. He was obsessed with them. He gave me like a book on them once. And
I understand a book.
yeah,
This
a
I
book.
is
can't
a
imagine being
nickel.
like, I've got to run to the mailbox to
dime.
see if my latest Coinage magazines come in with my TV guide.
Well, it's
I
strange
just-
because again, this is the 70s, and I remember like so. I mean, I feel like we all have hobbies that like have some sort of currency tied to it, or like at least some
yeah.
sort of shifting currency to it.
Literally currency.
Like for me, well, your money. What do you? Is money just that? Is this? It's just money for you? No, but
Coinage.
for me,
That's all that matters
coinage.
to
This
me.
is that. Yes, but the for me it was like I remember getting issues of like
Heartless
Toy
Gerber.
Fair, and they'd be like, oh, this comic or this toy is worth this much amount of money, and I'm like, who's dictating this? And I could see someone doing that. I mean, obviously coins have that because the exchange rates and everything, but like, yeah, what a boring fucking subscription.
Well,
Like, I mean,
they
it's the
call it like
70s.
a numismatist. So it's like someone who collects coins.
Oh,
That's like the
yeah,
technical
yeah.
term for it.
Okay.
I feel like
someone who collects
I used to collect
stamps.
coins when I was younger. I used to, when they started to reissue the quarters, I thought that was pretty cool. You would try to collect all the new quarters. I mean, I wasn't like, I've got to fire up the latest subscribe. Like, is this like a coinage.org? Do they have enough money for a .com? I mean, I don't even know
Yeah,
what's
no,
happening.
it's a big. I've seen like the subreddit of. I don't collect coins necessarily, but it is like a whole subculture. It's just like with anything, people collect toys and stuff. But hey,
Yeah.
at least the money's gonna be worth something, right?
Well,
I guess I had Sports Illustrated for kids instead of Coinage growing up. I think.
or Highlights
Turn out better.
magazine.
Oh, I liked highlights. Y'all,
yeah.
Corey put on an investing podcast one time. And I thought I was going to die. It
Yeah.
was the
Oh my
most
God!
boring.
I would
Lots of
rather
people are
die
interested
than
in-
divest.
Well, I got really. I know it's a short section, but like even when you're in that coin thing or con or whatever the fuck you want to call it,
Coin con.
I just
Coin
kept
con.
wondering like, why are you spending money on this? Like it's kind of like when I look at, I understand there's value for gold and silver and all these things, but I do wonder some points. It's like, I don't know, like our priorities have really shifted in this world right now where I'm like, are we really valuing like, oh, the fucking like climate's getting hotter and we're probably going to die. Oh, we're going to still put a value on gold. Like, I mean, it just doesn't like, I don't know, these things like, I get what they were. Even, I mean, I've even gotten my head about it's like, even in like Mesopotamia times, like, why would you give a shit about gold? Like, are you like, it's literally, you're just fucking struggling for food and survival. Like, what do you care about jewels and gold? Anyway, I'm getting on a tangent.
Yeah.
It is
no,
something
no,
I've
the
always thought
dollar,
about.
It's worth $1 because it is $1.
Well, because someone said that it's worth
blows my
that.
mind.
Not
But
anymore.
yeah.
But yeah, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
nothing's worth anything.
It
in
all
this
goes
world.
back to how currency works.
Yeah.
in this
Which is
world
why
of
we need
ours.
to all subscribe to Coin.
We should.
Figure out-
Coinerly, so we
Well,
can get to the bottom of it.
Look, I know
Maybe
it's October.
Coin has like history bits like that for you, Mike. Maybe
I
we'll
hope
do
so.
a
Yeah.
subscription.
I hope they have short
you
stories.
enlightened us with the history of the button. Maybe we get a history of the
Hey,
quarter.
you
That was Buttonage magazine.
Buttonage. I'm a
Hey,
big
that is a
subscriber to that
page
one.
turner. Let me tell you.
They had a fucking amazing cover story last week that was
yeah.
just like all about like the 1976 button that came out of from.
And they're like, why are there
Connecticut.
four holes and not three?
It's like, well, we're going to talk to Jason Sherman of Connecticut.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I apologize. Honestly, that's all the real misery I have, except for like maybe the little possible over explaining by Ferris about what really happened when she was pushing those buttons or what didn't. That's
I
all
got
I've for
one.
misery.
I've got one, and it's a callback to what we were discussing earlier. We were talking about how when you were younger, in the 90s, Justin, you were incredibly knowledgeable of Newt Gingrich and all these other political figures.
Yes.
Little did I know that the sixth graders of Castle Rock Middle were incredibly knowledgeable on basically foreign policy, which I mean. I have to say, I probably got into politics when I was in middle school, but certainly skewed more towards like 8th grade, 9th grade, 6th grade. They're like talking about like Hanoi and the China politics and Russia, and this is like before the internet. It's like I don't know. This seems kind of like the Shining, genius kid here thing again, where it's like, all right, let's remember they're sixth graders. It's 1974. What are they getting? What are they getting these sources from? There's like 8 hours of television. Like, give me a break. That was the only one I had. Any other misery?
I got one.
Ooh.
This is more just a misery about the world, but on page 11, the media says, girls, women, you can be anything you want to be in this brave new world of equality as long as you can still see your toes when you stand up straight. I was like,
Hey.
Damn.
I mean, he's not wrong, but also fuck you, world. So.
Well, as I learned from the substance, vanity is the currency to the world. If we're going to look at the coinage,
according to Coinage Magazine.
Yeah, Coinage Magazine. They're like, well, you could have $1 from 1896, but if you've
turn to page 19.
Yeah,
for our full feature on the substance and how it relates to valuing dollars.
Go see the
Our
substance
expose on the Buffalo nickel.
The Buffalo. Ooh, sexy. Any other misery, Flieger?
Just that the death is non-canonical, but that's just like a kind of a technical thing for me. But
it's like a well-actually misery.
I'll be honest, Flieger, when I read the third book, I had forgotten about the end of the first book with them telling her that. So
yeah.
But
again, Ferris is not always trustworthy, so who knows? He could also be lying. So
it feels like
it's
a
too
cop
short of
out,
a book
though.
to really have any gripes. Like I think it flows really nicely, and it's just as long as it needs to be.
Oh, I got one more. I know that I say I would love to go back to the 70s and live there as a teen and whatnot. This is such a real nitty gritty bullshit misery thing here, but what sixth graders going home and putting on Soul Train and just dancing in the living room? Like, I don't know. I maybe there was different times. It just seems so like, hey, here's something that happened in the 70s.
I think Soul Train was like a universal that was on in like prime time, or like before prime time, and I feel like that was like a universal thing. I think people were definitely putting on Soul Train.
It's like MTV's The Grind.
Right. Dancing. I was exercising when I got home with Eric Mies.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about congratulations, everybody.
Wake up in the morning and be like, what are all these?
You were reading Fear Street too.
Exactly.
I always wonder, like, how do they have so many platforms on pools at The Grind? It's like
it was only during the spring break.
It's just like
otherwise it was in the.
They spend most of the time just creating concrete tablets on these giant pools for spring break. Anyway, well, enough of spring break, enough of pools, enough of Soul Train. Let's take us over to a little creepy area. And hey, it's October. What better time to visit the cemetery?
What's the bottom of the truth?
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back. It may look like that person, but it ain't that person. Because whatever lives in the ground beyond that cemetery ain't human at all.
All right. It's round robin this. What is, it's a slim book. I feel like there's some scary parts, possibly. Anyone have any? Nope.
The
I think
third...
just anything.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Anything involving Jonestown is pretty scary. Because I mean, you had over 900 people dying, and if you've ever seen like the video footage, it's like such an intense, crazy scene. So I'm always freaked out by like cult suicides and stuff.
You used to show me that when we would get high together.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Cannot look
That
away.
sounds like a
The stuff that
fun
like
time.
the stuff that Flieger and I would look up on just awful shit. But I don't think we ever found footage from Jonestown. There's
audio
footage
of it.
I've watched
There's
like
audio,
hours of it.
Oh God, I've seen
well,
video
Jesus
footage
Christ.
of it. Jesus.
All right.
And
What do you-
don't send it.
Yeah.
What
We'll
about
link
you?
it in the show notes, everyone.
Yeah, we'll send it. We'll post on the links to the on socials.
Yeah, give us a review and then
There
also
is
check out
a-
this footage of Jonestown.
There is an incredible book that came out about 5 years ago on Jim Jones, his whole life leading up to.
Yeah,
I can't
I read
remember the name of it. It's awesome. You should check it out. Okay, not a lot until the end, honestly. But when they describe, I got to hear the third time that Frankie hits Henry in the head. Quote, produces a sickening crack like a breaking branch. I think that was unsettling to me.
The smallness of that too. It's not a
Yeah.
limb,
Yeah.
it's just a tiny little crack,
I was genuinely shocked. I forgot the hunk dies.
I forgot he
that
died too. Yeah.
No,
I
I forgot.
remembered that there was an attack at the end and her foot thing. I have one that is around that time. On page 146. Frankie grins, exposing teeth that would make even a hardened dentist wince and turn away. He reaches into his pocket again and pulls out a knife. It reminds her of Lenny's, except it's no Semper Fi engraved on it. Get over on the bed, prom queen. Don't bother taking off your panties. I want to cut them off you. If you lay real still, maybe I won't cut what's underneath. It's like,
God.
fuck you, Frank. You're awful.
Man, when he wants to go there,
Yep.
like he'll go there. It's just sickening. Flieger.
Yeah, other than the Jim Jones, I had the knife story too, but I was
Okay.
going to save that for Pound Cake. But I think
Go for it.
the implication of like you could have actually prevented tragedy as well. Like maybe something
Yeah.
worse than Jonestown would have happened. You know, you never know. Again, that like sliding doors idea that like, you know, it's like, oh, I got into a fender bender, but it's like if I left 5 minutes early, I wouldn't. It's like, or you could have been in a fatal accident. Like you really don't know how that's going to go in either direction.
Hey, that's the story for Heaven Can Wait, starring Warren Beatty. But Justin.
Frankie's death.
Yeah. Oh man, I have
That's really well
I have the
written.
passage.
Yeah, go
It's-
ahead.
It's great. This reminds me of Drag Me to Hell. 156. She falls silent, remembering how Frankie's face began to turn black, how his eyes first went cloudy and then lulled forward in their sockets, how his mouth drooped, the lower lip unrolling like a shade with a broken spring. His scream, surprise, agony, both. She doesn't know. That blew the teeth right out of his putrefying gums in a shower of yellow and black. His jaw tearing loose, his chin falling all the way down to his chest, the ghastly ripping sound his neck made when it tore open, the rivers of pus from his cheeks as they pulled apart like rotting sailcloth. I mean,
Sailcloth is such a good descriptor.
that's a great sail. Yeah. It's like Donovan got a better fate than him in Last Crusade, fucking melting into hell.
And also,
Elsa.
Drag Me to Hell both hinges on a button and a
Oh, interesting. Awful fate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
Puff sucks. Any other cemeteries? You got one?
I got one more. Yeah,
Okay.
on page, I think 116. She's halfway across the park before she realizes she doesn't want to go to the suicide stairs at all. In fact, she never wants to see them again because this is crazy, but in the dark, it has the force of truth. What if she met Olivia halfway up? I'm sorry, what if she met Olive halfway up?
Yeah.
Olive with her head half bashed in and one eye dangling on her cheek. What if Olive pushed her or talked her into jumping? Well,
That's king.
creepy.
That's 100%
Exactly.
king. Yeah. Yeah. I had that
King
one down
dream.
too. It's a good
Yeah.
one.
Nightmare.
Any other ones? Well, let's step into the lobby, or should I say the, I don't know, the
Computer lab.
visitors area. Yeah, computer lab with the word processor of the gods. God, just trying to reference The Shining.
And we're gonna make a new rule. Whenever I'm in here, you hear me typing. Whether you don't hear me typing, what the fuck you hear me doing in here, when I'm in here, that means that I am working. That means don't come in. Now, do you think you can handle that?
Yeah.
Fine. Why don't you start right now and get the fuck out of here?
All right. Any passages that made you wistful?
I just like the one when she's talking to Flag and he's like, "Oh, now you know my name," and she goes, "Names aren't knowing."
I like that line.
That's good.
I like that.
Um,
I got
go
one.
for it. Go for it.
Page 161, and Flieger, it's the one you do not like. I like her death. That I will not tell you, only that you will die surrounded by friends and a pretty nightgown with blue flowers on the hem. There will be sun shining in your window, and before you pass, you will look out and see a squadron of birds flying south. A final image of the world's beauty. There will be a little pain, not much. It's like, man, if that's how I go out,
Yeah, it's a
I
good way
like
to go.
it. And I would
There's
spend the rest of my
a
life
little-
believing that's how I'm going to go out, even if it's not true.
I don't want to spoil too much, but it's not necessarily wholly false. I'll put it that way.
Exactly. It's got similar vibes.
There's some
Also-
you can read into what he's saying one way or the other. I don't say too much. Read the whole series.
But let's say you are Richard Ferris and you don't want to like ruin this girl's life. That's probably the best case fucking scenario you could possibly paint.
Absolutely.
Like, so I get
That's what I'm
maybe
saying.
if he was being a trickster there, it's just like, oh yeah, here's the greatest fate you could possibly have,
Right.
as opposed to, oh, actually your family has been waiting on, hand and foot for 4 months, but you passed away at 3 a.m. and no one really noticed, and the guard tug someone's sleeve and that's it. I mean, that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
But like, anyway,
Well,
He does
okay,
have a good. Go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
Is this a better book if he says you will get slowly mauled by a bear and then fall into a
Shardik
thing? Yeah.
Shardik.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. Or like if he told her the worst possible thing you could imagine. You know,
like
is it?
Cujo?
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
don't think
You'll have to take minutes at a meeting.
Yeah,
No, that's heaven.
there'll be a plague. You'll survive the zoo and then die at the
God.
meeting.
They just
Again,
keep
I don't
talking.
think I don't think this version of Flag has as much ill will, and it seems like he actually respects her.
Yeah.
So I don't see him having any interest in like messing with her life.
Good point.
You know, as he would in other versions of that character.
I've got one. Page 74. Gwendy returns to her bedroom without comment and slips on tennis shoes and a sweatshirt. She thinks about running suicide stairs, but decides against it, vaguely afraid of an impulse to throw herself off. Instead, she travels a 3-mile loop around the neighborhood, her footsteps slapping a staccato rhythm on the cold pavement, crisp autumn air blushing her cheeks. I did that, she thinks, picturing flies swarming over dead babies. I didn't mean to, but I did. Maybe it's just because I'm out here in South Pasadena, where I have to pretend it's fall at 8 in the morning, but I just do miss the crisp fall weather. And it was nice reading it in that little passage. And also I like the fact that she's still running. You'd think that she'd not run anymore because her fucking stairs are gone.
Yeah. And the competition's
It's
that's behind her, but yeah.
pointless.
And she hurt her foot.
Yeah.
She injured
Exactly,
her foot,
yeah.
which is like a lifelong, almost like Penguin in the first episode.
Oh, yeah. With
The-
Christine Milletti.
The penguin.
Yeah. Did you watch that show?
No.
It's not going to happen, right? No, I don't. It's
I think it's pretty good. It actually picks up.
not to go on a tangent, but I
the fourth
can't.
episode, I think
I
it's
can't
leveled
contribute anymore.
I have
I'm not doing
industry that's waiting there. I got to finally
Great
watch
show.
it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna finally do it. But I will say
Industry's
this:
way better.
I'm like I've been so on a movie kick now that I can't invest in shows anymore. I just can't. Like I'm just like I don't know what happened to me where I'm just like. I mean, I know we're gonna have to watch Welcome to Derry and the Institute and all this other stuff, but it's just like when I think about like having to like sit down and watch a show now, I'm just like, fuck. Like, what is
I get into jags of either I'm either like on a movie kick or a TV kick. Sometimes I'll be like on a podcast kick, or I'll be on a music kick. These things
like
all work.
a Sunday night.
Yeah, I miss the the event of it all. But hey, maybe I'll get that when one of King's favorite shows. They just dropped a trailer for it. You know, the first season dropped a decade ago. Severance is coming back next year.
Oh,
so
I need to have a 6-part podcast to remind me of what happened in that first season. It's been so fucking long.
They're like,
I will say
those today. I was like, what is this? Like,
who
what
is this? Who is this guy?
it's Dreamboat Adam Scott.
I loved the show, but God Almighty, get it together.
I have for King's Dominion, I have a connection to a TV show. So
well, it's interesting because you know what? Let's just make the agreement that there's no real pound cake here, right?
I've got one little piece.
Oh, you have one?
Virginity.
All right.
Because
okay. Well, let's hold on to it before we get into King's Dominion. That was a good seg. I applaud you. Flieger's always good at getting us moving. We got to stop and have a little bit of pound cake, just some nibbles.
After all you've been done.
Justo, what's the pound cake?
So my pound cake is not sex driven. It is, however, disgust driven, which we also incorporate in pound cake. And Gwendy's father refers to their flooded basement as quote wetter than a taco fart, end quote.
Ew.
It's the only one I had. It's
so
disgusting.
I missed that.
Yeah, I did not
He
miss
can't.
that one.
I wrote he can't help himself.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
loved it.
that's
I
King
loved
too,
it. Don't get me
you
wrong. That was great, but that's all I got. Sorry.
Taco
You know,
fart.
he was just laughing, just that shit humor.
Tabby, get a load of this.
Yeah, I don't have any other ones, dude.
No, that's all I got.
No.
All right, let's go to King's Dominion.
There's another world out there. I know there is.
I feel like we have a bunch in here.
Yeah.
I've got one big one that I don't know if it can add up, but I'm going to wait until a little bit. So, Flieger, you're the Dark Tower Detour man. Take it away.
So here's kind of a funny one. So I did the audiobook this time, and it was narrated by Maggie Siff.
Yes.
Who you might recall from Mad Men. She played
And
Rachel
Sons of
Menken
Anarchy.
Katz, the
Sons of Anarchy.
department store heiress.
Oh,
so
I
she's
love her. Yeah.
also an actor on Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
And in the third episode, Stephen King is actually on Sons of Anarchy
Third
because he
season?
said he liked it in Entertainment Weekly magazine. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
they share screen time, but I think that's kind of an interesting, connection.
Yeah. That's interesting. I forgot about that. Yeah, she is Jax's old lady who's
Love
just
Maggie
super
Swift. Miss. I don't know what happened
she's
to her.
great.
But yeah, they do not share scenes. I think it's an old guy and
you know who the old guy is. Speaking of King's
Who's
Dominion,
the old guy?
Hal Holbrook from Creepshow.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes,
yeah.
that's right. It's her dad, I think.
Yeah.
Into the Wild.
Interesting.
All right, King's Dominion. Let's keep going. Who's next?
Let me do. I got one more quick one.
No, no. You went. We got to
round
round
robin.
robin.
Oh, okay.
Round robin this.
I thought you were encouraging me to go.
No. Save it. So Justin.
This takes place in Castle Rock.
Oh my God.
The whole time?
Yeah. This takes place in
Wow.
Castle Rock.
Is that really okay? All right. Well,
I got a bunch more, but keep going.
I know. All right, Jen.
Okay, well, we got Bridget Desjardins, who was a teacher in Carrie.
All right. Well,
and then
that's it. That's one. All right.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Rothman.
All right. There is a little of Clint's Dominion because they go to see
it.
Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. So one of my favorites. Top 5 Clint for me. So
now you're going to be talking about that on the Make My Day podcast that you
soon.
have. Right?
Hopefully, we should have done it this year because it's the 50th anniversary. But which great movie if you haven't seen it. It's on Tubi. It's like pretty much the most free Clint movie you can stream. It's on like every one of them. So yeah. Flieger.
So the bag that is used to hold the button box, it bears a resemblance to the Midworld Lanes bowling bag where Jake finds Black 13.
Interesting.
So it's almost like a bag that can be used to carry an object of great power.
Okay.
It's another one that I kind of.
That is a deep cut. I like it.
Carry
doing a little
an
237. I'm feeling the door rattle a little bit. Justin.
Well, Ferris tells Gwendy that they ought to palaver, which is very similar to what Walter says to Roland at the end of The Gunslinger.
It's true. Jen.
AKA Randall Flagg.
We got Silver Dollars mentioned, which Ben Hanscom has in it.
I didn't even think about that one.
Cartwheels.
Yeah, that's a good one. I guess I'll just do this now because this is kind of wild, and I don't know if this is right, but okay. So on page 68, and it's probably just because this is my favorite book, but 68, she goes, she still thinks about Mr. Ferris, not quite as often and usually in the long empty hours of the night when she tries to remember exactly what he looked like or how his voice sounded. She's almost sure she once saw him in the crowd at the Castle Rock Halloween fair, but she was high atop the Ferris wheel at that moment, and by the time the ride ended, he was gone, swallowed by the hordes of people flocking down the midway. Now, if he is at the fair, maybe not watching Gwendy, although he could do it. Maybe he's hitting two birds with one stone. What famous Stephen King character went to the October Fair in Castle Rock?
John Smith.
Yep, dead zone.
Yeah.
Is this the night that John Smith gets in the car accident after the fair?
Wow.
Well, isn't that the Freiburg Fair? Is that the same thing as the Castle Rock
it is the
Fair?
Freiburg
Is it really
Fair.
the Freiburg Fair? Okay, well, and then
But what about the luck of him not
theory.
going to Castle Rock?
Well, you know what? It was a great. We all lived
It's in
through
Castle
that.
County.
It's been it's been 7 years since I've read it, and I just was like, man, that would be kind of a cool little stealth reference, but no, I guess not.
It's like no. It's like the what's the word I'm looking for? Where the
outskirts?
damage spreads out.
Yeah, the collateral
it,
damage. Yeah,
collateral damage.
Oh, like
yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger post 9/11 movie.
Yeah.
Who's next? Flieger.
Oh, I've got.
You. Oh no, wait. No, Flieger. You go next. We gotta go around the circle.
She got my Silver Dollars one. I thought that was
sorry.
interesting. No, it's okay. The rest of mine are, just the animals that come out can represent some of the beam guardians, like the type of animal that the chocolate is.
I cannot believe I
Obviously,
didn't
the
even think
coin,
about that. Like
18,
the first one
9,
she
adds
has,
up to 19, but that's about it for me.
Always makes me want chocolate too. Like what?
I know
else
it looks like they taste really
but
good.
how?
I had a
but
cake
like,
pop the other day.
Doesn't it feel like the chocolate that she references though? Like it's kind of like those stupid fucking jelly beans that are like for Harry Potter. They're like this big.
Oh, the every flavor
like,
bean.
give me a
I
break.
figured
Like,
they were that big, right?
Yeah,
they probably
like-
taste
Yeah.
amazing. I think that was.
I'm
the
sure
thing,
they
right?
do. Yeah, so they are kind of magical, like the Harry Potter jelly beans, until you get that snot one.
The
It's
one that tastes like
gross.
boogers. Yeah.
Or boogers, yeah, gross. Fuck that.
Earwax.
Okay, Justin, you're next.
Gwendy sees Dark Score Lake
Oh.
from Bag of
yes.
Bones.
That.
Yeah,
Mike Noonan's still alive at this time? Or no, he probably was a kid at this point,
he's still
right?
alive.
Isn't
He's
Dark
fine.
Score Lake also Gerald's Game?
Yeah,
yes, that's where
that
is where she's at as well. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
which is all that same stretch too, because it's like 90s King.
Yeah.
Jen.
Okay, well, we mentioned Schwarzenegger. So towards the end, he's talking about who he's going to give the box to. There's a young lad down in Pescadero.
Yeah.
And as we know, in 1991, Sarah Connor was in Pescadero and her son, John Connor, went to rescue her. So I think John Connor gets the box, and that's how he saves the world.
I really thought that,
Oh, man.
when I read that at the end, I was doing research because I really thought it was a specific King reference, but it was not. And I thought that you were going to blow me away. And instead, you blew me
Did
away
I
like
not
Sarah
blow
Connor
you
is blown
away?
away in her nightmare in Terminator 2.
Oh,
Right
yes. Perfect movie.
God,
Great
great movie. Well,
No fate.
no fate,
what we
but
make.
What we make for ourselves, yeah.
Yeah, until you get shot at a Mexican food
Anyway,
place
let's
and
keep-
the beginning of Dark Fate or whatever.
Or you go back to watch the original and you're like, that's not what he told her to say.
I know, it's just ridiculous.
But-
I saw a little Halloweenies Dominion.
Oh, so did I.
Which what was it, Justin?
The Amityville Horror and Phantasm are both playing at the local theater.
Yeah, and you can get rentals for those at patreon.com/HalloweeniesPod.
I literally have your Halloweenies plug for that part.
Free plug. Vlieger.
That's
it?
I'm tapped out.
Tapped out?
Oh, I got
Go
some
on
more.
more.
All right, Justin.
Ooh.
Oh, wait, Jen, you got some?
Okay. You got to go first. That is just.
Bannerman
Yeah.
is quoted in the local paper from the Dead Zone in Cujo. Sheriff Bannerman.
Still alive.
Late great.
Still alive.
Yeah.
Surprised they didn't go to like John's place. It's
no
like
time.
Castle Rock Diner. You just gotta
No
go
time.
to John's place. That's where he goes. Anyway, Jen.
We mentioned Kennedy, and this book has a lot of 11/22/63 vibes too, like the things like different dimensions and what could and could not happen and who causes what.
Yeah, the Jonestown thing. I mean, it made me wonder, and I'm glad that like we kind of know it wasn't, because I feel like if someone around the time that this book was released read this and they're like, oh wait, or this tragic real life incident that happened with the Jonestown massacre is
It's too soon.
how reckless that King made it so that it was actually a
it would
little
have been
girl.
like Mike. It would have been like how the Brian Tyree Henry character in the Eternals caused Hiroshima.
100%. But there was literal outrage over something as stupid as that, and like I could just see people.
Well, I mean,
when
that
I
was
reading,
more just stupid than it was.
I mean, it was stupid, yeah. But I mean, did you watch the Eternals?
Oh, I sure did.
Oof, rough.
Man, I couldn't finish that.
Oh, it's so
that was
bad.
terrible.
It really is bad. Yeah, it's too bad.
Is that the 40th Marvel movie or the 5th one? Anyway,
it was. I think it was AE or was it? Yeah, AE
right?
after Endgame.
I wish I
Oh God.
I wish I had Gwendy's button box and I could just think of the studio of Marvel and just hit the button so that I could save Denzel Washington from his rumored spot in being in the Marvel universe. Just don't do it, please, God.
Well,
Denzel,
we'll
don't
see.
do
We'll
it.
see.
You're about to win your second Oscar. Stay
Yeah,
away.
God.
I got two more.
All right, go for it.
Okay. Gwendy has a nightmare about Pennywise. I'm sorry, not about Pennywise, but about Richard. And it says the well-dressed man with the silver coin eyes. That's how Pennywise was often described.
Yeah.
Here's one that I'm curious about, because this kind of goes into the logistics, like you mentioned earlier, Jen and Mike, about Freiburg Fair versus Castle Rock. So there's an allusion at the end to an unsolved or to a rape murder of a girl in Cleves Mills.
That's what I was wondering too.
And I don't know if that was supposed to be one of Frank Dodd's victims before that murder was solved. I can't remember what year that was, though.
Could be.
I guess it
Or
would have
maybe-
been 70, because she was a senior, so it would have been 80. When was the Dead Zone?
76.
No, the novel was in 76, though, right? It was.
I think the novel takes place a little earlier, though, doesn't it? Let me look real quick.
Yeah, but then time goes on, though.
It
So I
does,
can't
because
remember
he's
when
in there
that
for like
was
7
happening.
years.
So anyway, I didn't know if that was an
I-
allusion to Frank
yeah.
Dodd or not. But,
Well, maybe
Yeah.
it's one of the victims. They
Oh
never
wow,
found
no,
out about.
1970 is when Dead Zone starts. I didn't realize it was that far back, because I guess they have to get to 1979 for when it was published. So that makes sense.
okay, well, maybe that's an
yeah,
allusion to that,
I
because it
think
would have been
so.
1980 or 1979, around that time.
Yeah.
when she graduated. So who knows? Maybe that was an
Yeah.
allusion to that.
Well, it could also be it's Cleves Mills. Isn't that's under the dome though, right? Or no, it's not. Under the
No,
dome?
that's Chester's Mill.
Oh, it's Chester's Mills. Yes.
But I mean, it still could be Frank Dodd's victim, and it's just one that we don't know about.
Exactly.
Because it wasn't in Castle
who knows?
Rock. You know.
Or
Anyway, I thought that was
if
interesting.
Unsolved.
you want to do Room 237, it could have been Frank Dodd as Cujo as one of the victims.
Yeah, in Christine.
Yeah, in Christine, Cujo driving Christine.
I feel like
We'll
I'm watching
talk-
the Dark Tower
Frank
movie
Dodd
again.
killing him in the
God,
back.
it's just ridiculous. Or Cat's Eye. I don't have anything else. I think
I'm out.
I think that's it. You already mentioned Desjardins. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm ready to roll out. I should say.
Let's roll out in our section that we call simply final thoughts.
Dad, can we go now?
You ready?
Yeah, we've been ready for an hour.
Okay, I'll be right there.
You said that a half hour ago. Yeah, my dad's weird. He gets like that when he's writing.
All right. Who wants to kick this off?
I'll be brisk with mine.
All
As
right,
brisk as this novel is. This isn't obviously top tier King, but there's really nothing I can truly ding it for. It clips along in the way a lot of King books don't. I think like the brisk 4 to 5 page chapters help. I think there's just such a strong focus on this quite simple scenario, and then the focus on basically just one person that we're following the entire time as well. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the reread just as much as I enjoyed it the first time. It is ultimately, though, because of these things, also slight compared to some of his greater or more accomplished works. Like you mentioned the Dead Zone, for instance. I can't say this is on the same plane as the Dead Zone, or even like a Gerald's Gamer or something like that. But I still enjoy it. I honestly enjoyed it a little bit more this go around than even the first time. Maybe I'm being generous, but I'm going to give it 3.5 bright red Pennywise clown noses out of 5. I thought it was good. Yeah. I think it's a good escape from where he had been and where he was headed for his books, I guess.
Yeah. Flieger.
Yeah, that's brisk, baby. I gotta say for Justin, good review.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think the brevity of the book is a good like travel book. Like I would love to just read this on an airplane, from cover to cover. I think it's fun. It kind of reminds me more of like not a graphic novel, but there's like something a little bit comic booky or young adult about it that in this case, it does appeal to me. I like where the trilogy is going. I think this is the second strongest book in the trilogy.
Right.
I think the third one is the best. And I'm looking forward to covering those again. But I'm going to give this a 4 bright red Pennywise clown noses because I do like Gwendy as a character.
Yeah. Future crush.
Future crush.
Is it Magic Feather that the crush begins, or is it Final Task?
I mean, yeah, when she's like an adult, like
it's just age appropriate.
That makes sense.
Yeah, when it's age appropriate to have a crush on.
We already skewed that controversial lane in the last episode, which we debated on taking out, and we didn't though. But Jen,
it was a fascinating listen. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, like I
couldn't believe what I was hearing.
I have a crush on Olivia Rodrigo. I'm 40 years old. Okay.
Well, that was easily the least part of that.
That was the least part of it. Yeah.
Controversial part of that discussion.
Well, let's pitch it over to the controversial one. Jen,
yes, I will.
Go
fall
for it.
on
I'm just
that
joking.
sword.
I'm just joking.
Queen of controversy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy this. I think, again, I listened to it all in one day. It was a really nice escape from the horrors that we're bombarded with right now. It feels like a really contained story, a really interesting conundrum or like kind of morality play and a character study. And I really enjoy it. I like spending a lot of time with Gwendy. And I think I said it earlier, but it would have been so easy to make her just a straightforward, bland character. And I think they really resist that and they interrogate this perfection in a way that I find really interesting. I like those chocolates. I want to see what they taste like. So I'm going to give it 4, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what can be said that hasn't already been said, as many a loser before me have said in this position. I would say I love King when he's slim, lean, and mean, and I think this book is just enough of the mean to get me on the to get me in. As I've said multiple times in this podcast, I love his short stories. There is a what if and that percolated while reading this and what I posed to the group earlier on, of just like, what if this was a short story or like was looped into, say, Bazaar, or if it bleeds, or any of the other short story collections. And also you didn't have good old Rich involved. Like, what would this look like? There are a lot of what ifs that are tied to this. And I think that's just the case with any collaboration. And I think about that when I was, reviewing music in the past and being like, well, what if this was just a standard album from either of the respective artists? But it works. And I don't really actually think too much about it. I mean, the fact that like The Misery is basically just a bunch of fucking kids acting like, you know, talking about 70s politics, like that's the biggest blemish I have on this. Like that's pretty good. And I don't know, like when something can hook me in, I think there's this misunderstanding of like, oh, well, it's short, so it's easy to read. No, I have read books that are short, especially when I was in rhetoric, and they'll take weeks to finish because it's just, if you're not looped in, you're not looped in. But this does, and I found myself actually like fighting to put it down because I just knew I needed to wait until it was close to the recording. So I'm gonna give it 3.5. I think this is good. I think it's a slim, nice read. I don't know if I need anything else from this though. I think that's my ding is like, I think King, as I'm learning through this, is that I really wish that he had the sort of, for lack of a better word, wherewithal to go, that's it. Because as we've seen with this, he does 2 more books. And then as we see now in this past week, he's like, all right, we're going to do more Holly.
I gotta say though, I don't speak for Jen and Dan though. I think that the last book is the best one.
It's really good. Okay, so it is the best
he
one.
He only does one book technically because he doesn't do the second.
That's right. Doesn't even do Magic Feather. Yeah.
Maybe
I think so too. But I also agree with you. I could have left the story right here.
I could have. Yeah.
But I'm all right. So then I'm interested. But the problem is you got to get to that second one, and I've heard that's a slog.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that second one's a slog.
But it's also short. Like it's not.
It's really short.
Okay.
It's not an 800-page slog.
Okay.
No.
Maybe one day when I have to catch up on the missing spots, I'll get there. But yeah, right now, I mean,
check out the
there's a reason why I hopped on this book episode. It's a fucking chaotic month. I really shouldn't have been doing a hosting of book episode, and it was really kind of nice on Sunday to be like, you know what? I'm going to start the research now, and it's 169 pages, and I'm going to knock this out. So yeah, I had a blast with this, and I love being back in Castle Rock. Good stuff. So yeah, 3.5. I think that gives it to what 3.75. Not
That's
bad.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not as high as the Goodreads, but
Still
shit
good.
happens.
A good book.
Good book
for year number 43 in his career. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Much better than. Well, I'm not going to get there because you guys can discuss it when you get to the next book that we're covering. The 80s are calling. We're still here in the 70s, so we need to get back through the thinny and jump ahead about 50 years where we can enjoy all the chaos that awaits us, including an election. How about that? But before we head out, let's tell our constant listeners where we're going next. Justin literally just got off of the call right before this book episode on what we're going to be doing with the Halloweenies next month. Why don't you just tease it away? Just add some teases on what we're doing.
Well,
in
November, we've been in Haddonfield all October, but it's time to head south. We're going to Texas because we're going to be doing a big episode on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974 edition, of course, celebrating its 50th anniversary. Big episode on that. Also going to be a commentary on Marcus Nespel's Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake starring Eric Balfour and Harry Knowles. And we're also going to be doing a list episode on best chainsaws in horror history. And there's more than I thought initially. I've already been thinking about some more, even though I'm not going to be on that episode. And our 4th episode, Mike, is going to be on
Thanksgiving, the great Eli Roth classic that isn't even a year old yet, but has a sequel confirmed, even though Borderlands. Anyway, we'll talk all about that on the episode.
We'll talk all about Borderlands in our Thanksgiving episode.
Well, Flieger, what is next for Midworld? I know you have an idea. Do you want to tease it?
Well, I'll say for now that's still being fleshed out.
Yeah,
but I'll be on the Sleeping Beauties episode, and that's the second to last Stephen King book that I have to read, and then finally Faithful as the final one. So it's my journey is coming to an end until it's time to restart in order.
I remember reading Sleeping Beauties and giving my book report on, again, another random episode of the Losers Club.
There is. It is out there.
Once again, we are really in it.
All of us had respective assignments in addition to our book episodes. We get a lot of listeners that are like, where's the book episode? Well, guess what?
There's like 70 of them now.
There's so many. And even then, when we were delivering book episodes every 2 weeks, we were still covering the new ones in the capsule reviews
craziness.
On our news Neville
We were
tweets.
so
I don't know
young.
how we do it.
Young
We're
and
so
dumb.
young. Just had no idea. But yeah, I mean, there is a capsule review, and I remember you were, we'll be mum on it so we could all walk in November and
Well, I'm not going to be on the full coverage, so I'll just say I didn't care for the book very much.
Did not care for it at all, and I believe it's really low on your Googlex. Yeah. Jen, fill us in on all the latest in the Jenniverse.
The Jenniverse. I like that. Well, I will be on that Sleeping Beauties episode. I got to start reading now. And on the Lady Killers, as soon as we log off, I got to publish our Ginger Snaps episode. And then on Halloween, we are dropping an episode on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which was a lot of fun to talk about. And also got the distinction of being the first Halloween episode that Sammy and Mike watched in the Laurie Strode house. So
it was, yeah.
I got that.
Congratulations on such a great movie.
I know. We really chose the best ones.
Yeah.
I got a fucking headache watching it, but it's all right.
It's a loud one, but the episode is really fun.
Yeah.
And then the Girls on the Boys, Justin just stopped by to talk about season 4 and revisited all of our predictions. And then we are going to be talking about Charles Bronson coming up next. So that'll be really fun. Man. And you can also find me on the Murder Made Fiction podcast, where in November we're actually talking about Jonestown and Waco. So prescient, yeah, Jonestown and the Sacrament, and then the Taylor Kitsch Waco show. So
you're keeping it light for November.
Yeah,
keeping it light. You know, we're leaning into the cult theme for the month. So yeah.
Well, I will be heading over to the post office to send Jen trazodone so she can actually sleep at some point during November. No, we've got a couple of things still coming on. You know, you just got this book episode at the end of the month, but we've also got a long watch episode for a little pooch that's from Castle Rock. His name's Cujo. And we are going to be recording that episode literally in 24 hours, less than 24 hours by my count, because we'll be starting, maybe 21 hours. Time to make the donuts, right? Well, we never stop making them over here at the Losers Club. And the good news with that is that when we were at Creep IE Con here in Ontario, California, which is just south of South Pasadena, I managed to finally sit down with Dee Wallace. And she is a star that there's a reason why we didn't do the 40th anniversary for Cujo last year. And there's a little something that is called The Strike, which based on the conversations involving Jason Blum and AI, clearly nothing happened. But the thing is that was a reason why we weren't able to actually have Dee Wallace on the episode last year, because she was unable to be on. And I didn't want to do this episode until we spoke to her. And God, I spoke to her, and I thought it was a great chat. But you'll be able to hear it right after our Cujo up. So we have that. And then next month, oh my gosh, we have so many fun things planned. You'll have to stick around and stay tuned to our socials, the Losers Club podcast on Instagram or Losers Club Pod. And look, if you're feeling charitable, here's what you should do. You should leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and you should ignore the fact that we maybe spoiled something in the first season because we were just we were just learning the wheels here. Or ignore the fact that, we might say things that you disagree with. That's fine. That's called the human condition. You should hear us and you should say, wow, that's an alternative point of view. I am very entranced by his point of view. I might not necessarily agree, but that is who I am. And guess what? The winner here is that you've listened to a podcast, you've consumed some content, and you figure out who you are as a human being. You don't need to have people tell you who you are all the time. That is the beauty of the reality of the world.
I think if you could just give us a 5-star review, I think
just give us a 5-star review.
I think we're exceeding the length of the book at this point.
Well, I'm only saying that just because I've been seeing a lot of reviews, and they've been all getting upset because we had our panties in a twist about certain things like Salem's Lot or a couple other books. But that's the thing. We all have our own opinions, and that is who we are because we are the Losers Club. I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining me on this ride today, and I want to say thank you to our trusty editor, Kyle Rosevich, who, as always, kept us from veering on the beam. Speaking of which, we will be seeing you over long days
and pleasant nights.
I got some hot friends. God, I got some hot friends. I got some hot friends. God, I got some hot friends. But you know you want somebody to treat you good.
You've made it to the end of another bloody, disgusting podcast. Congratulations. If you like our programming, consider searching for other bloody, disgusting podcasts, such as Creepy, Horror Queers, The Boo Crew, SCP Archives, Nightlight, Margaret's Garden, and more.